G'day, we're the Inforunners. I'm just gonna make you guys wait a bit now. Pete said we're late, so we're just gonna wait a little bit now.
Just because of poor Pete. It's all your fault, Pete.
Yeah, Pete's fault. Yeah, got nothing to do that. I was delayed because I had 18 messages from some crazy son of a bitch wanting me to get out of bed 4 minutes early. No, what an asshole. Anyway. Right, what was I doing? I was distracted.
You're venting at Pete, because it's all Pete's fault.
Yes.
It's always Pete's fault.
Yes. Tried to wake me up. I need my sleep. I don't even got me out, son of a bitch.
If he doesn't get his sleep, he's a nasty bugger.
Oh, I'm
terrible.
And
then he treats me horribly.
What do you mean treat you horribly? That comes free. What are you talking about?
Probably true.
All right. See, I didn't get everything done because I was going to check messages and all this bullshit.
So good morning, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, star citizens. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Algared and I'm joined, as usual, by Execute.
Yeah, you should do that more often, you lazy sort of a bitch. Anyway, yeah. No,
I'd be willing to, but you're a control freak. You like to do it.
It ruins my habit. Yes, it's a habit thing. It's not a control freak. I'm definitely not a control freak. I'm just a routine person, I think is what it is, and it's just easier.
Unfortunately, I think we both suffer from that OCD type tendency, and when you are like that, routine becomes just natural, and you just can't help yourself. So, yeah.
It's just, especially when I'm late, it's just easier just to the flow gets thrown off, so it's easier just to do myself. But anyway. I digress. Anyway, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff to go over that we're probably going to do in an episode this weekend as well. We've actually got an episode that we recorded, what was it, Tuesday? Tuesday that we did that one?
Yes.
Yeah, so we did an episode on the Valkyrie. Is what
Monday
we did.
Night,
was it? Yeah, whatever it was. We did an episode on the Valkyrie that we were going to have come out this week, but now we're just deciding what we're going to do with it because it's awkwardly timed. But we thought, let's go back and look at the Valkyrie because the Asgard's coming out, and now we've got all this stuff coming as well. So you're probably going to get treated to a double episode this week, I think, in short. So we'll go back and talk about all this stuff in an episode, but we are going to go over it with you guys now. I do need to put the bot up. See, I'm forgetting everything. He's just ruined my flow. It's
all your fault, Pete.
Just set me off. Like I can't get anything organized. I feel flustered. What am I looking for?
I'm flustered. Yep.
Yeah, all of the above.
I'm fluxed, as Tolkien would have described Bilbo. Yep.
Yeah. All right. The bot is up. That's all good. Right. All right. So get your questions in. We're going to go through everything with you. Now that we've kind of looked at, there's obviously been a heap come out in the last 24 hours. We pretty much know everything right now. I think for me personally, the ship that's probably got a few little mysteries left and not a lot would be the MX, as in the Guardian MX. I also think that we'll go through it all. Is there one ship that you would like to start with, or do you want me to just?
Oh, look. I'm happy to go any, many, miny, mo. Doesn't really matter. They're all. We'll cover them all. We'll wax lyrical on each of them, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And as we're talking, if you guys have questions, pop them up. And if I notice it's in the question list and it's related to what we're talking about, I'll try and pull it up straight away. But don't count your chickens. I'm a mere mortal. So.
Okay. I've been lied to, Algared.
Yeah.
I was told you were immortal. You lied to me.
I never said I was immortal.
You told me you would never leave me. No.
See how insecure he is.
All right, where do we want to start? I'm trying to find that goddamn image and I can't find shit right now. You know the image I'm talking about. Where is it? Must be up farther. It is up farther. There it is. Right. So let's start with this one. This is probably the best one to start with. Right. Okay. Switching over to the browser. I'm probably I haven't checked all this. It's probably going to bust. No, it worked. Good. There we go. Right. So, Invictus. Obviously, the hauls are all kind of out. We did a video on this. pretty much everything we got right. Other than that, we did say it could be for the Asgard, and it does turn out to be the Asgard, but we thought it could be for something else because it was really weirdly placed. That area in the
You're
back.
referring to the sneak peek from last week?
No, I'm talking to the area in the back right there behind the Guardian, where we're saying we didn't know what it was.
Comment that brought out,
Yeah. And it's just was very weirdly placed. Everything else has its own little pedestal, and it's just weirdly done. In fact, there is another image of it, which is this one here. I'll just open that real quick. So I'm talking about that one. Yeah. So it's really placed, but there's some things off this picture we can take as well. So we'll be going backwards and forwards between a bunch of these pictures. But I think for this starting it out, we'll do the Guardian X first because there is only really one good photo of this, and this is ironically the photo. And when you kind of zoom in and look at the Guardian X, this actually is probably the best photo, sadly. But you can see, and I've had it kind of described to me by one person at CIG that basically said you can see that it's squished, and the wings are essentially wider. So one of the essential benefits of this ship is it's the same wing 4 times, or the same nacelle 4 times. So by just changing one, you are drastically changing the entire ship. And basically, so you can actually see that. And I haven't really got another model to overlay or something like that, but I'm sure someone like Trispone or Grimm will eventually show a comparison, because you can clearly see that it's essentially more squished and wider. But you can see there's a lot more details there. You can see the missile racks on top. And we actually do have stats on this, Algared. So you and I did go over this.
And just before you do move, because I think I know what stats you're going to be. You can see those missile pods there.
I'm just gonna read it out, but yeah, go ahead.
But they're each 12 missiles, so
yeah. So where is it here? Guardian X loadout is 24 times S2 missiles. So either I kind of look at that and go 8, when I look, but again, we can, if you zoom, you have to zoom in again on Photoshop, but it almost looks like there's 12 on each side. So does that mean that there's only 12 on, like racks on top and none on the bottom, or have we miscounted somehow and there's less or more than that? So anyway, we'll find out in a few days' time. It's not super important whether the top and bottom, but I assume we'll find out soon. And then obviously the guns, as I kind of assumed they were the S4s. Some people thought they were S3s, but they're actually S4s, which kind of makes sense because otherwise they'd be very much on par with the Saber. So yeah, with how that's going, I'd be kind of surprised if they were size 3s. Yeah,
I've got to say, I hope that it is only 24 size 2 missiles. Now, I know, to me, that is not heavy ordnance. That's just ordinary ship.
Yeah.
But I hope it's not 48 size 2 missiles, because then it puts it in the same category as a Constellation.
Yeah.
So Constellation has...
I thought that'd be kind of...
I think
it's kind of cool. So here are a couple of things.
It's already got 4 size 4 guns that the Connie has standard.
Yeah.
And it's got half the size 2 missiles that a standard Connie has, or slightly... or 2/3 of the missiles. I think the Connie's got 48 size 2, and it's got 52 or something like the missiles all up. And half of those, or a good whack of them, are size 2s. And to have a fighter that has the same main guns plus as many size 2 missiles, to me, is just obscene.
Yeah.
But that's power creep in the game.
Yeah, so you can obviously see the cockpit here. It's got those kind of 3 lines either side. I am hoping that this is a little bit like the MX and the shield comes over. And there is another image here that I'm going to open real quickly. These are all just frames from the video, so you essentially can go through the video yourself and pull these all out. But the first time I saw this, I was on a stream with Grimm, and straight away I even said it to Algared, and he thought the same thing. This looks incredibly a lot like the Cartoal. You've got those vertical lines that come over, and you've got the 2 consoles at the bottom, not along the top like the other Guardians, and they're hexagon shaped, which is dead ringer of the Cartoal. So we talked about this a little bit, Algared, but you can elaborate a lot more if you want. But essentially, we're wondering if the X is a little bit of a Cyan experimental type of thing, aren't we?
Yeah, well, we know the Cartwell is, a Zion ship built for the human market. That's what the AL means at the end. We know that MISC are in that agreement. MISC and Mirai would be in that agreement with the Giant Empire to exchange ideas. And we also did have people saying, when are we going to get more ships where we've got that leveraging of idea, where we've seen the alien tech being incorporated into the human ships. And people would always say, oh, I must do that already, but it didn't really stand out. It didn't look like that. The first ships we saw were reliant with kind of giant engine balls. So this would be the first ship where we really see that language coming through a lot stronger and in more detail. So yeah.
There is another frame of this that Grim had that I don't have, but you can actually see the thrusters going off, and that's the other thing. Like the thrusters have moved on this from the other Guardian. You can see a little bit in the other image. If you kind of look here, they're a little bit they're here. They're not along here like on the other Guardian. The last few things I just want to point on this image is there's these essentially 2 on each nacelle, but this is probably the clearest one here is this little thing here. Like, what the hell are those? They're not a thruster because the thruster's still there under the gun. So there's something new here as well that's on it as well. So hell knows what that is. And then obviously just little details like the grills along the side and stuff like that. So they're the last little kind of little mysteries. What are these last little things? They could just be rule of cool factor type things. They mean absolutely nothing. But again, it's one of the last little mysteries we kind of have left. Like, what are those little details?
One of the other things that stands out with this ship in terms of the gun placement, it does look like the guns, as you pointed out last night, they really do look like they're embedded into the wing.
Yeah, you can see them firing here, mate. So I just went back to keep going.
And so that raises the question for me: are they kind of bespoke, like built in, so you can't swap them? Are they energy or a ballistic? And so there's those two questions that I don't think I've heard whether it's what type of energy weapon type they are. Apart from being size 4. If they're ballistic, those boxes could be just ammo boxes for them. So,
just being the 4 size 4s, I do think that this will be the more, how do I put this, the more popular variant. And I don't mean right now or anything like that, because there's going to be a lot of people annoyed that this thing even exists, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, look, like I said, if it's got the same number of missiles as the Connie, I'm a bit annoyed because a one-person ship with the same firepower as a $350 ship, but it's for 5 people. That's insane. Shinobi Trip does raise a point in YouTube chat. He says that those boxes could be air brakes to help in atmospheric flight, possible. I hadn't thought of that myself, but
again, we've got no idea. But again, like the other thrusters are still there. You can see the little outline there. So it could be anything like shaft or flares or anything. It could be a whole bunch of things. Like they're just again, you don't have a lot to work with because we've essentially only got one. If you look at all the other images in the frames, it's always in the dark. It's shockingly placed in the dark in almost every single shot. So you don't have a lot to work with, unfortunately.
Spicy SC07, yes, we have already pointed out that it is 24 size 2 missiles. But even for me, that is still a lot of missiles compared to a Connie. Which I think has 36 size 2s, and I'd have to look it up, but it's size 2s and size 1s, and that's getting very close to the Connie's loadout. It's getting very close to even the Miss's loadout. If you should have treated them all, any of those ships that can change their missile racks, it's getting very close. The only thing that I think saves this one from being too much like those is the fact that those missile racks do not look like they're going to be able to be swapped. So you're going to be stuck with the size 2 missiles.
All right. Moving along. I think we'll go to this one next. And then we'll come back to the Asgard. So the thumbnail for today actually was taken from this one. The Graycat MTC. I think I'll go straight to the punch and say I think we're going to be getting a second variant of this. And I think this is the first variant, right? And I'll explain why. In the files initially when we found this thing, it was called the Graycat Cav, and it had like a missile loadout, right? And now when you read the what do you call it? The description for this thing. I need to go back to the thing. Give me a second. I can't remember where I put that. Oh no, here it is. That's right. Got it. If you read the description of this thing, it is ironically very, very close to what Grim said it would be, and is essentially a bunch of suit lockers and an armory that transport personnel. So it's basically just a smaller Ursa of types, right? That's essentially what it is, right?
But sorry, go on. Finish your point.
Yeah. So what I think it will become, though, we also found in the files the line that said MTX. So and one of the things we're seeing is a lot of the vehicles that are coming out, they're just deliberately already being built with multiple variants in mind. It's like they've just kind of gone, oh, we can just do variants of everything, and it saves us shitloads of time. So I reckon the MTX is going to be that missile variant. And when you essentially look at it, it's really hard to unsee this really hard line and this clamp on the bar here. And when we all first saw it, the group that I was talking with, it's really hard to unsee that would, you could see that come up and fire the missiles out. It also explains why the turret recesses, because the turret actually comes up onto the top of that back part. You can see it in that. If I go back to, I'm gonna have to move it around. Give me a second. This first image, and then go over to here. You can see that it kind of when it comes up
into the.
Yeah, it goes up onto the back in between those bars, so it would actually be in that area. But then if it comes back down to land, then it can open to fire the missiles type of thing. Again, they could have totally removed the missiles completely, like absolutely removed them all. Or it might have some kind of small missile rack on it. I have no clue. We'll have to kind of wait and see what comes out in the next couple of days.
And it really does look like this is built like that. That hardline does make it look like it's been built as a modular. Not that we're getting a modular component for it, but the designers have built it so they can take bits off and put things on and build them that way. The other thing that sticks out for me in terms of a comment about it being a smaller Ursa is the fact that as a combat command system, this would be, I would hope, with seats that are suited for guys in armor, whereas the Ursa isn't developed for that. So,
I'd agree with that. That would be a great way to go. Well, again, you don't even need that because it mentions suit lockers, Algared. Yeah. Well, no, you don't need that. You could just have a couple of guys sit there and then they get up and just put their stuff on and get out. So
but the only other vehicle we've got with suits where you can wear the heavy armor is the Spartan.
That's true.
And that's a massive vehicle compared to the Ursa.
Yeah, there's definitely a need for it. I would hope that it's like, looking at the size of it, I would hope that it's around at maximum a medium, so it does fill a slot. And let's be honest, we need more medium vehicles. We've currently got the G12, which we don't have, and the Ursa, and that's it. Like there's obviously a need for a lot more medium vehicles. And like when the Storm came out, you and I were saying the same thing. If this is a light tank, why the hell is it not a medium? So but anyway, all right.
The other thing with this is if it's a mobile command or control center, then that gives us a ground vehicle if it's actually able to do that control of combat and other things. And the only other vehicle I could think would possibly be in a position to do that would be the Ursa, not the Ursa, the Lynx. Yeah, with its that back section and the control panel, the keypads for the luxury guys sitting in there doing stuff. But that's probably it. Anyway, moving on.
Now, in regards to the TAC, that we don't need to go over that. That was all kind of talked about at CitizenCon. It's nice to see it's coming in the game. I think I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to already tell you right now, it's going to review a lot better than the Starlancer Max. I have so many issues with the Max. It's disgusting. A lot of the reasons for my problems with the Max is because I knew this existed.
Yeah,
this is a much better ship, much better laid out. I think again, I'll have to get in and test it when it comes out, but I think the only issue I'm really going to have is the hangar having a literal corridor all the way around outside of it. Why the hell didn't you just make the whole thing bigger and put 2 doors on it?
Because I didn't want You put massive ships in there.
It's just, yeah, exactly. But like, it's just silly. They should have made it so you could have put heaps more little ships in it. You could have put a 6 in there if you got rid of the corridors.
I would have liked to see it be able to take 2 snub ships just because it is so much bigger than a Connie. Again, I'm looking at the ships that do X.
You don't need to make
but I'm just,
sorry, I'm just thinking about what you said. You said, but then they don't want you putting a big ship in it. Well, you just keep it as one door. You can still make the room bigger. Just have one door, and then they've got to move off to the side or something like that. There could have been other ways to do it. It just looks stupid when you look at the design, where there's this corridor right around the outside for no reason. I know why they did it. They did it. Yeah, they did want to make it smaller, but it's my whole problem with that ship. It's just got so much wasted space, and that's the only wasted space in this one, comparable to the Max. And I reckon that corridor problem will continue in the build as well. In such a pivotal room to have all that space waste is just crazy to me. Anyway, anything else you want to add on that one before we move on?
Yeah, while I don't necessarily like the idea of a corridor all the way around, I could see that being an advantage for service crews being able to get in and service the vehicle a lot quicker, meaning it can get out and in. The other thing is, from the video where this comes from, I do believe they talked about, when I was talking about the TAC, it's got stealth, kind of a stealth skin on it to lower its emissions. So that should be a bonus for this ship as well. So
it's like we said, I think it was you or I a couple episodes ago, we talked about it. Essentially, it's a mini Polaris, and it really is in a lot of ways. It's even got the same corridor around the outside of the hangar, but little med bed and stuff like that. But the a lot of the military people I've talked to really hate this thing because it's so large, and you don't really get a boom in guns or anything like that. Again, you can get the Paladin, and the Paladin just loses all those features, but it goes down to it's essentially a medium ship versus almost like what is it? It's almost like an S3 versus an S5. On S5, it'd be a really large S4. You know how the Caterpillar's in a different bracket to the it's like that. So it's so much bigger. And especially when you're wasting a lot of that space, that's why it becomes so annoying. And we're falling into the realm of 600i annoyances is what I'm essentially getting at. And again, little things like those extra wings that just make it bigger and stuff like that. It's kind of annoying, unfortunately. Tit for tat, I still think it'll be a great ship because it's got so many features on it, like the med bed and stuff like that. I think it is going to be a very, very popular ship, and it falls under the gunship title as well. And when you fall under that, none of the other gunships have a medical bed, so that's going to be an absolute boom.
It certainly raises the standard up for it. I know it's a bigger ship than the Connie, and the Connie's listed as a gunship, and yes, you can probably tell that I do like the Connie. But it's got the med bed. It's a bigger ship, so it's got that. A question for you from Red Samurai. X, is the TAC what you wanted the Starlancer to originally be? I'm going to be honest. I think the build is where the Starlancer is at, but I think the Max is a very good variant. I just don't think it's like, for what you want it to do in combat, it's an oxymoron, as in it's just so large that it doesn't bring the guns to go with it, so to speak. Like, how do I put it in a way? The classic is the 2 remote turrets are gone.
Yep. Let me just show it. I think I can do it. I could be wrong in my thinking here, but it has been a hot minute. But this is where my brain goes, and I could be wrong, right? I could be absolutely wrong. No, I am pretty close to what I'm trying to say. Which gunship would you prefer? You're talking 17 meters. Like I know these are landing on the same pads. These are going in the same places. You've got 4 people on each ship. Which one are you going to take? Like, that one is going to slice that one to death. Like, there's just no contest, right? And that's the problem. And it's so big, it's going to have similar signatures to this, right? Not exactly the same, obviously, right? But you see where I'm going, right? If you're going to take a gunship, then take a gunship. This is the poor man's. That's why it has the medical bed, because they need to make up for the everyone's going to take this instead.
But I look at those two ships, and the roles are completely and utterly different. You know, the Perseus I don't see as a ship that
They
you're
have
using for ground
different
attack.
but they have different guns, right? This is really designed to punch up. That one is really like, again, you've got the size 5s, so you got to remember the size guns. Once you go from 4 to 5s, it changes how it's going. This is more aiming at the mid range. This is more punching up above itself. So yes, they are different. Like this is weakness is going to be fighters. That's weaknesses is going to be ships of its same size and up.
Yeah.
So they both suffer from a problem, but in opposite directions. But again, this has got armor up the wazoo.
Yep. But the roles are different as well. Like the TAC has that stealth armor, so its idea is going in stealth. Again, big ship, big signature. It's going to need all the help it can get. But it's also got the hangar for a vehicle. So they're clearly thinking of this as more ground planetary operations rather
this
than
has got a hangar as well.
Perseus is
this has got a cargo and hangar areas as well. You can put an Ursa on this. Exactly the same as you can with that, right? So the only thing that this doesn't have that does have, the only boon I can really see in that at all is the medical bed. This is probably a really good episode that we could do, by the way. We'll go over this as you know, once the TAC is out.
Tease the differences, advantages, and otherwise.
But
and
this,
I'm ambivalent. I don't bother either or, but I can see. I can see.
So again, the point I'm trying to get at, in short, when it comes to the Starlancer, is the build is where it'll be at. There is no comparison there because there's nothing that treads on it that's even remotely close yet, right? The Pioneer is way too damn big. This is obviously a whole size class smaller. So basically you're going to be able to get into in and out areas a lot quicker, right? So I think the build is really going to be where it's at. It's going to be the first building ship in the game. It's really obvious. It's the whole reason they built this thing. You and I learned that when we talked to Chris and Ben. Not Chris and Ben, sorry. John and Ben. John's going to kill me now. But you get my whole point, right?
I don't know. Saying that John is Chris is probably, you know, giving high praise.
And now you're in trouble.
Hey, Andy will kill me.
Yeah, true. Right, let's move on to the probably.
Well, before you do go on, I do want to stress that point. We have always said the build was where the Starlancer was at.
Yeah.
You know, that was our thought. That was where we understood. But as you said, the TAC is a eminently better build than the Max. The Max is not a Max. It's just the base.
Yeah,
it's probably the easiest way to look at it.
The Perseus is so this is Prophet of Trout, who's a first-time shadow, who says, the Perseus is anti-ship, while the TAC is more planetary and FPS stuff. Yeah, they both do sit. They cross each other's path, right? They're not exactly the same, and there's not. The further up you go, the more they kind of do spread out a lot more, but they are probably the closest to, because they're both gunships, right? They both have that gunship moniker. But like drop ships fit into different areas, there are different places that gunships fit. Yes.
And as you were saying, you know, if you're looking at which one do I go for,
one's way cheaper than the other. Obviously, that's a huge factor to look at. Obviously, But again, if I've already got one, which I do, as I know you do. I've got to question my sanity of even picking up a TAC.
Do I need another one?
Yeah.
Do I need another ship in my multitude? Yeah.
And again, I think that's going to become more and more prevalent as more and more ships come out. Like, look at what was the other one? The Guardian MX just coming out. Do I need one because I got the other Guardian? You know, things like that. And even this thing's another really great example. Like, I know a lot of people that are really pissed about this Asgard, right? Because it's like, Expat Brat as an example. As soon as I was kind of showing it to her and talking to her a bit about it, she was like, this is what I wanted my Valkyrie to be. I'm so annoyed. And now I've got it and she's got the Legionnaire skin one, right? You know, so she's like, does that mean if they most likely will, by the way, make it, if you buy it outright for cash war bond, you can get that special, you know, the copper skin on this, and she's going to want that, so she's now got to fork up all the fresh cash and buy it all again just to get that skin. And that's what they're doing. That's got to piss you off so much if this is what you're after, and then all of a sudden what is it, 7 or 8 years later, pop out this.
That was one of the ideas of the original upgrade
Yeah. So
parts you could take to help you get the ship you wanted.
yeah. So
The
nine.
idea of melting your packages as well.
So 90s in Twitch chat said, "Do you think that the Asgard? What do you think the Asgard will sell for?" I do think it has to be more expensive than the Valkyrie now. I don't think they've really got a lot of choice. Because we're going to play a little video here if you guys haven't seen it, but someone did a ship tour of it, and I'll play that last actually because we'll go through everything else. But so this is taken from this is from the video as well. Real quick, I'll just open this. So as you can see here, the reason I'm showing this because it's got a couple of things in it. So obviously it's got this massive turret on top, and that is we believe that is somehow remote operated. We're not quite sure how it's going to work because the only turret on this thing, as you'll see in the video, is down the bottom. There are only now 2 people on this. There's the pilot and the turret at the bottom, and they have a bedroom that's now sealed off from space with 2 beds in it. So it's went from 5 beds to 2. And then they've shortened it all. And like I was kind of predicting, I was hoping they were going to shorten it so you could fit 4 people in each room either side. They locked it right down to 2. So it only carries 2 people for the other vehicles. So essentially, if you were in the Spartan that carries 8 people, you would actually only have enough room for their crew, and then they would have to pick up people before they even get in this. So this isn't even really for dropping people off. It's kind of shit like that.
Yeah. Or the crew or the passengers or the assault crew are sitting in there, sitting in their Spartan for the whole troop, So.
Yeah, so it's not like the Valkyrie where you could literally have all the crew sitting in there and they kind of drop off. Like this really needed to be for 8 people. And when you look at it, there is clearly enough room that they could have added those seats in. And I don't know. I want to know what they were thinking when they did that, because I can't sit here and go, they don't know their own game unless there's some kind of gameplay reason that I can't see, and I can't see that. But to me, the first thing I would do is, well, what's the biggest number of people that fit in the largest ship? And from my memory, I believe it's 6 or 8 in one of the, the one that carries the extra people in that, the Atlas variant. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's the Spartan. Yeah, and I believe... you want to look that up real quick on the wiki for me, so I don't, because this is my web browser, I can't do it. I believe it's 6 to 8. It's somewhere in there.
From memory, and I'm even seeing a couple of people in chat say the Valk only has 3 beds. But
no, you and I went through in the video. There was 5. Where there was 5, because I thought there was only 3 as well. But remember in the video that we recorded, I said, "Oh, there's 2 extra beds. There's 5." Yeah, because you got 2 for the remote turret operators, 2 for the turret operators, and 1 for the pilot. That's 5.
I'll have to go watch the video again.
Well, we only recorded it this week.
I know. And it was my ship, and you blew it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Look forward to that in the video. Algared just spoiled it, but anyway.
Oh well. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It wasn't my fault though. We just randomly flew into a comm area. I can't.
Who was flying? That's all I'll say.
Who was flying in third person? Me. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, it was my fault. But it wasn't intentional. Well, again,
what was I looking up?
How many people fit in the Spartan essentially? Because that kind of tells me, well, that's where I would have gone. I would go, what is the max amount of crew that you can have in a large vehicle? And then that would have to fit that. And the reason that they can, I hope if they ever do a gold pass, they go back and add some extra seats into this, because if that takes like 6 to 8 people, that's what this needs to have. It needs to have those extra people. So yeah.
Passenger transport, according to Wiki, is 8 secure jump seats.
Okay. All right. Well, according to Jack Raven in YouTube chat, there's only 3 beds, and clearly I'm insane, and I didn't see those extra beds. So, yeah.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
What's the last one?
Emu is saying there is a new sneak peek.
Yeah,
which has come out while we've been going.
Well, I'll look at that in a bit, because that's not. I'm in the middle of doing stuff. So, I've now lost where the hell I was up to. Been totally thrown off. All right, that one, and all right. So Yeah, you can definitely tell it's the Asgard, by the way. If you actually need definitive proof, it is in this screenshot. It literally says Asgard right there. So that kind of proves that it is the Asgard. So they're going to try and tell us, oh, there's this new ship and this is its name. Well, the name is right there. There's no denying it now. That was the only reason I had that screenshot up. And then let's look at the little video if I can find it. I'm probably not going to be able to find it now. That's the way this will go.
Yep.
Right, here it is. No, I got it.
And yes, Varkan, there in the new ship it is one pilot seat, one man turret seat, and the 2 jump seats. Yes, that is the thing that we were commenting on. In the space looks like that Bay Area where those
Algared, just
jump
stop.
seats are. Cool.
Just let me commentate this video and then you can say what you need to say. So you can clearly see here they've removed the 2 remote turrets, so they're gone completely. And you got a weapons rack and what appears to be suit lockers on the other side when he turns around there. So that's where the 2 remote turrets used to be. This room on the right hand side is left hand side is where the beds are, but that's been cut back to 2 now. And then when you go on to the other side is where the toilet is. But you'll also notice the turret there is, when he turns around to go down the ladder, is completely gone now. And the essentially rail is completely gone. So it is pushed right back a lot more than the standard Valkyrie. And then as you can see, he'll head downstairs and make his way into the rooms down the bottom. And that's where you can see that like all the troop seats have basically completely disappeared. So there is a chair just here, as you'll see, and he's got an engineering console, but like you've got room here to put the chairs back in. So I am hoping that they essentially do put at least a couple more chairs back in. I think that makes a lot of sense to do so. There is one chair in this room you'll see when he comes back out. Yeah, see the turret's still there, and there's the chair there. And then you can see the major changes here, like I was showing in this other photo back here. That's the one thing I forgot to show because we got distracted, is the landing gear is now exterior. You can see that they've moved it into this little box that's completely on the outside. And you can also see in the other screenshot, this one, that it's got new landing gear when it's landed there. I'll come back to that in a minute once we watch the rest of this video. So other than that, the doors are pretty much the same. He's going to open it here. You can see the gun here on the right-hand side. It's all exactly the same as the other one. So it does allow it to do the boarding as it comes in. So you can actually see the space up here, but it comes really evident when the door opens. They have drastically widened this ship and raised the height. So you can see the height there. It's almost like a cathedral a bit now in there. And that's the end of the video. I'll let it play out, but yeah, there's nothing else there.
But that height does mean that it can do the bigger vehicles like the Nova tank. So that's a bonus for that.
Yep.
Will it take 2 tanks?
No.
Hopefully not.
So the 2 remote turrets essentially been removed. You can actually see the guns from them that have been put up here. So you're obviously going to have the missile turret type thing on top, 2 guns underneath that, 2 guns on the chin. So there's 4 guns for the pilot. Then the guns on this turret at the bottom. I'm wondering if it's the guy on top that has access to the missiles somehow. Like he can, when he lands, he can go into a remote turret and then he controls the top. That makes a lot of sense to me because when you're landed, you kind of can't really use those guns very well. So, use the missiles while you're landed and then switch back into the normal turret. So as you're coming in, you can shoot things below you. That seems to make a lot of sense to me. I hope that's how it works a lot better. Well, unless they give it to the pilot as well and the pilot can just dumbfire them. But I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see how that's going to play out. But again, once MFDs and that come in, pretty much anyone could pick them. Yeah. So that's crazy.
Fleming is saying 6 guns for the pilot.
I
actually think
remember. I got
probably
the stats
4
here
for the pilot from what we were looking at last night.
We'll go back.
Chin guns and the 2 top ones, whereas the bottom ones were the bottom turret guns.
So what I've got here is 4 size 2 shields, 16 S3 missiles, 2 S4, and So 4 S3 size weapons. So there is 6 weapons for the pilot, 2 of them being size 4 and 4 of them being size 3, and a 1-man turret with 2 size 4s. So yeah, there is 6 guns. That's a lot. The pilot is a lot.
Yeah.
And there's some other little tidbits and stuff in there. Some of the patches, a lot of new weapon changes coming, like the Polaris's guns have all been upsized and all this type of things, but they're all a little bit over the place. Okay, so the last kind of just little, I'm into little tidbits here now. So one of the things that I thought was interesting that's going to show that they're customizable is they actually have these missile PDCs. So it looks like the PDCs are going to be actually customizable like a component. Whether this is the only other variant of them we get, we don't know, but I just find that interesting that you are going to be able to lay them out and change them is kind of cool. That's a little tidbit. It's kind of up there with blades, right? The blades are going to be an interesting component coming in. Probably the most uninteresting one that's coming first, though, is it just allows you to change how they fly. So they essentially can, in some cases, just go faster in straight lines. A lot of the ones that they're coming for initially are a lot of the Aegis ships are getting them. From what I've seen in the files. Right, now we're into other little tidbits. So I think I'll start with these ones. So
just before you do move on, these pepper box, I do think from memory, I know the 890 has PDC missile pods. I think they're from Bearing. I could be wrong. But if they bring out variants, it'd be nice to have the ability to swap those out and put laser guns on. Which,
like, yeah, just more customization for capital ships, isn't it? That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, I just thought they were going to be there and you can't do anything with them.
Yep.
But obviously, you're going to need ammo and stuff like that too, eventually.
One of the things with the original 890 jump design was that it didn't have PDCs weren't missiles, they were actually lasers. And so it'd be nice to be able to swap and change and equip your ship the way you want.
Exactly.
Advantage with missiles is that they may be more effective, but you're limited in the number.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a couple of skins here for the Asgard. Obviously, you can see the copper one that we were kind of talking about in the middle there, and the others are all a bit, I don't know, they're a bit plain. You know, your basic military ones, though, I think they're, you know, the snow one, the desert one, the camo one. One of these, I assume, would be the default. Probably the middle bottom one, I think, would probably be the default, something similar to that. But we'll find out soon enough. Then we've also got the same type of thing going again for the little Graycat MTC. So these are very plain. Now, one thing I did point out to Algared was that is a lot of skins for a tiny little vehicle that has no variants. That's a lot. And if you look at things like the STV and stuff like that, they don't have that many. I think they only had 3 for the STV. So my thought that I think that this really strengthens the fact that there is a variant coming to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that variant will be. It could be 12 months away type of thing. But I'd be really surprised if we don't see a variant of this. And knowing that there was an MTX in the files, I think that speaks a lot to it. And with what they're doing at the moment, where you tend to be getting the worst one first and the better one later, I don't know about you, but yeah, if that doesn't speak to you, I'd be definitely holding off. Yeah. And then lastly, this really spoke to me when I saw this one, because one of these skins is definitely screaming me. If you know which one is me, you can let me know in chat right now. Yeah, Algared, you'd know which one is screaming to me. Even Grim was like, oh my God, it's got your name all over it. But yeah, so I like them a lot. But the other thing is, you'll notice, Algared, is there is 2 different kind of distinct patterns there. One almost looks like a racing variant in a turn of phrase.
Well, that's exactly what I said when I saw them. I said, oh, one looks like a racing skin.
Yeah.
Or one set looks like a racing skin. It's probably more.
Oh my God, there is. I'm just going to have to annoy Twitch chat. There's so many trolls in Twitch chat. No, it's the bright red one, you idiots. They're all going, bright green, bright green. No, I hate green. Green is the most common color in nature. Do you know, useless fact, Algared, that humans see more shades of green than any other color because of the jungle and shit? Yeah. Anyway.
I like green. Green's a wonderful color.
Okay, well, you and your green can off. Anyway.
How many is to me?
Right.
Always.
Yeah, you thought you'd be used to it by now, but you're still complaining. Right.
Yep,
Then we've got all
absolutely.
these little skins here that I also like quite a lot. These are the essential Fleet Week skins. They're
Mhm.
kind of like a silver metallic-y kind of camo, but from what I can tell, and basically with red accents. Similar, we have seen similar skins to this previously. Almost a little bit like the pirate skins, but more camo-y. I really like that hammerhead one. We don't have a good hammerhead skin, but also really getting one for the Polaris as well, Redeemer, all those really cool little combat vehicles in there, and then obviously an MPUV. So I don't know if this is all of them, but that's a really good selection of ships there that probably could use them. Some extra skins, especially things like the Nova. I haven't seen a skin for the Nova since it was released. So Hammerhead again. The only other skin that I can think of for the Hammerhead is the green one they did. The emerald, was that for St. Patrick's Day one year? Yeah. So yeah, it's good to see that Redeemer that hasn't had one since it released either, other than the Best in Show. And I think it's the same for the Arrow. A lot of those ships, Gladius is another one. I can think of like that. Connie. So a lot of them, yeah, haven't had a real skin. MPUV is probably another one as well, actually.
Yep.
So yeah, good selection there. I think
do,
they did well.
do really like that hammerhead. The reverse view of your hammerhead. That would be a lovely looking ship.
Yeah,
just crazy.
Yeah. You said that when you saw it the other day, and I literally said to you, "It's the Perseus."
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So yeah, it does share some similar shape language. Right. Now we're going into a bit of the weed stuff here. But I will bring this up because I think it's kind of interesting. So that's the end of the Invictus stuff. So at Wicklow's, I actually went in game and took this screenshot. It's not one anymore. There are two of them, which kind of scared me. And then the other thing that kind of scared me, we're gonna just bear with me here, let this kind of play out because this is a couple of screenshots I got to go through here. Is they also changed the way the armor looks, right? So now the armor is in this area, and so the other armor is probably still there, but it's just not on display. But the one that really stood out to me when I got in close to it was this one. Now, if you look at the pattern there on it and notice the digital pattern, and then go back to this, I had a shit moment. Because it's the same texture, basically. It's probably just slightly different colors. Like I know this has got a blue in it and stuff like that in areas, but look at the actual pattern. It is damn identical to this one. And if this is a real thing, and one of the things me and Algared go back to a lot is like the lore stuff. This is going to be like the Ares and the Ion, totally destroyed Crusader lore. If they bring out a weaponized Atlas, it completely destroys the Argo lore, which we now have President. And after me and Algared talked to them at CitizenCon, it doesn't surprise us. They just make the stuff, and the writers change the lore to suit. So if we do end up getting this as an actual combat suit, I would not be surprised if this is a real thing now. Sadly, I think it's. I just don't like. It is a lore thing more than anything else. I'm gonna be freely admit, but I'd like when you're so consistent with lore for was it now 10 years of Argo easily, and then you just about face it and change it because you want to make an Argo combat suit. I just find that a little weird. And I think there's so many other manufacturers they could have left Argo as a utility platform. But yeah, I don't know. Algared, where do you kind of lie on that? I know you're more into the lore than I am.
Yeah. I've always said they build the lore in massive 12-inch brushstrokes. So they build the frame, and the frame gives everything else what everything else hangs on. You want them to be consistent with that in terms of where the big hooks are.
Yeah.
For that continuity and stability in the world. Otherwise, everything else just falls apart.
Yep.
But there is enough wriggle room in a lot of cases where you can get away with that. So while I hate the Crusader lore, even in the way they changed it and making military vehicles, there was wriggle room in that. And even in the earliest times, it was, will Crusader morph or keep to their roots now that they've got the planet? Yeah. But Argo aren't in that situation. So for me, changing Argo from being more a utilitarian stevedore type thing to combat. Bat's a bigger change than say Crusader.
Oh, okay.
I hated Crusaders, but this one would kill me.
Yeah.
If
right.
that makes sense.
Well, some dickhead just sent me this, so it's scary. It gets a lot more scarily provable. Shit. Yeah, that's not good. But if it is just an in-game one, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that's scary. That's real scary if that's how they've done it. Now, Algared, I'm not a lore guy, and I guess we'd have to ask Kale, but I wonder if that's a Banu name. So it's well, what I'm wondering is, what if it's an ATLS that he is modified?
Yeah.
So it's essentially Wicklow only Atlas.
Wicklow's kick bashed.
Yeah, that would be okay by me. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
If it's an aftermarket modification made by the Banu because they thought that the Atlas platform was the best platform ever. I could see that.
Okay. So the dickhead is saying that Ikit is a Banu word for weapon, and Lemming was saying exactly what I was thinking. It makes it look like Atlas didn't make it, that Wicklow changed it, and I'd agree with you on that, Lemming.
Yep.
And yeah, thank you for letting us know that, dickhead. Sorry, dickhead is now his new name. I think that'll just be his permanent fixture from now on. I'm talking about Pisswell Pete for anyone. Anyway, right, yeah. But did you know that?
Says, Banu are so dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Did you know that though? Ikit means weapon, so the Atlas weapon.
Ikit.
Yeah.
Ikit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that I think that kind of proves the point that it's a Wicklow variant. Okay, so it's starting to make a lot more sense now.
Yep.
Does that mean that this will be like a rare item that you can only get in game? I think that makes it a lot more palatable for me. I know I sound like I'm getting stuck into lore, but like when they up about, I think, look, let's be honest, the thing that kind of annoys me about it, Algared, is the fact that they have all this established lore. They tell us how all important it is, right? And then it means nothing. Like that was the real thing that kind of hit me and you. I know it hit us both like a truck. Where it kind of, like, and I went back to my development days and I was like, yeah, he's right. They used to not give a shit about lore, and I just forgotten it because it's been so long since it's been 20, it's been 20 years since I made games now. It's been so long. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of surprised me.
I go back to what Dave Haddock told us, when Paul and I were talking with him, and he said, we build the framework, but we leave enough room for creativity of the developers. Yeah, so they're bound to the framework. Yeah, but there's enough space in that framework for them to do the things they want. Yeah, I think if Wicklow's taking an Atlas and modifying it, and we said when we first saw it, it looked like it was a kit bash slap together horrible monstrosity of a thing. Yeah. It does go in line with the other things he has, though, like the armor. He's taken the armor and he's put the copium stuff that you've collected on the outside of it. He's put them on the outside of the guns. He's done stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if you actually have to somehow collect an Atlas as well, and you give him the Atlas along with all the extra shit that he puts on it. Yeah, right. So you're probably going to, and he'll make one for you. Yeah. Essentially, that's what it is. So you're probably going to have to collect the guns. You're going to have to collect some kind of paint or camo or whatever extra bits he puts on it. I would have kind of liked to have seen some of the copia and stuff on there as well, like the horns and stuff. Although that would have been kind of cool. But that also kind of tells me that the fact that it doesn't have the horns, that this is probably the modified version. So, yeah. Jake Raven is he'd be like, humans love this. Yeah, probably. Tell me, you cannot look at that and not see Ned Kelly, can you? Very hard not to as an Australian, that is for sure. As an Australian, that cage there with the ice just looks like Ned Kelly's helmet. Yeah, so just for those of you that don't know who we're talking about, Ned Kelly was a bushranger in Australia, and this is a statue that they have oh god damn it, it's a really big version of it. Glenrowan, and I think. Yeah, it's in Glenrowan. I can't
but essentially that's kind of what he did. Was he wore this armor, so when they shot at him, he was almost invincible. And the way they ended up taking him out was shooting him in the legs. But this was
from
a whole
even, I think.
Yeah, but no, yes, but there was a gang of these guys. There was 4 of them, and essentially, as you can see, it's a bucket on his head. And it sounds so stupid, but it was so effective because they sent like hundreds of troops against these guys, and it took them ages to take them down. Like they had multiple bank robberies and all this type of stuff. But anyway, yeah. So again, when we
took the
so when we look at it, what that you can see the slot in the helmet is what we're trying to essentially see.
Yeah. They literally took their the shears from the plows and turned them into the armor. So yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I got to admit, that kind of looks like the same type of arrangement for building it. Very slap-slop.
Maybe we get an Aussie variant of it called the Kelly.
Yeah. Well, someone actually said that. The Atlas Kelly.
Yeah, the Atlas Kelly. So yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, but yeah, as an Australian, it'd be very hard to unsee that. But I instantly thought of it as well. Yeah.
I've got to admit, I hate the look of it, but I think I'll have to get one just for the Kelly aspect. But...
Yeah. Right. I think I'm down to the last little bit here. We've got a couple little odds and ends to go over. I need to go back to this. What was double checking? Give me a memento. I've got all this stuff I collected for this week, so I got to go back through it. All right, so we're down to the last couple here. I think.
Okay, just before you move on, because there are a couple of. I did say if I saw questions that related to what we're talking about, I'll pull them up, and there are 2 questions.
Come back to
related to this. Well, they're relevant at the time.
Go ahead. Go, do one of them then.
So Citizen Ninja said, why did they make the chest armor part of the Atlas Kitty look like a trash bin? Because I think it's picking up that idea of it does look like a trash bin.
I think they've unintentionally copied Ned Kelly. I think they've got no idea that they've done it, but it's just ironic. Like it works really well as looking through the slot thing. Well, you got to imagine this was done by Europeans, right? Most of those guys would have never ever heard of Ned Kelly, but Ned Kelly was an Irishman, by the way, that came over to Australia. There's actually a movie that Heath Ledger played Ned Kelly, believe it or not. It's one of the last Australian movies he did before he passed away. So yeah,
Nick Jagger also played Ned Kelly as well.
There's been a few of them. There's been a few of them. But yeah, I think the last Ned Kelly movie that was made was with Heath Ledger, though. That's why I brought it up.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. Well, moving on then. This week's sneak peek. Now, ironically, I had people message me on the Discord. They believe this is off the Guardian MX. And I'll just go back. I've got to go to the other channel. God damn it. Too many channels on their Discord now. Was it this one? I think it was this one. Yeah, so this was posted by Rajalex, and they were saying that they think it's this part of the ball on the Guardian, because you can see the little arrows, and you've got this round this part here. You know what I mean? You've got the little arrows and the round this part here. Makes a lot of sense to me. So that is the essentially zoomed in part of the, and my chair just broke. What the hell?
Yeah, and you can even see that section at the back. It's just looking from the back forward, not the front to the back. So yeah.
What just happened to my chair?
It broke.
Whoop. Okay. Now I don't know what's going on.
So yes, I would agree. It does look like the new Guardian. So yeah.
Oh my god. Sorry.
I do like Amigo's comment about the Atlas. It's the Atlas Foster, or the Atlas Kelly, as others have said. Yes.
Here.
Yes, no bed. What's the point? It's meant for short range. Anything without a bed is meant for short range.
All right. I knocked the lock off. Nope. It was back and then it's gone again. Okay, now it's locked.
Mhm.
Oh, it's broken on one side. No. Oh God. I'm gonna need a whole new chair. I'm gonna need a whole new chair now. God damn it. The last thing I needed.
And while you're doing that, there was a question I saw earlier. Someone said, Roz, do these guys answer questions? Yes or no? Yes, we do.
Nah, this is all pre-recorded, mate. This is pre-recorded, mate. Not
But
live.
we usually do our discussion, and then because we have our bot that pulls out questions and puts them in an order for us, we lax lyrical and then take our time on the questions. So
yeah.
All
right.
Interestingly, Paul now uses the same bot.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to the questions then, please, Algared?
Yep.
Well, I'm trying to fix this chair that I'm not going to be able to fix, but yeah.
So North End Trooper, actually go double check. North End Trooper wasn't the first question.
Mm-hmm.
The first question was from Simon Wolf, and Simon Wolf said, do you think Kraken owners will get an Idris P as a loaner?
If they release it, yes.
If so, can a K kit be applied to the loaner? I would expect if we're getting the Idris P, yes, if you've got a Kraken, you'll get the Idris P. If you've got a K kit, will you be able to apply it? Given that the K kit has 4-bearing M2C PDS things in it which change the remote turrets to PDS systems, I would imagine probably yes, since we saw bearing point defense systems as missile pods. So that would be my guess. The question is, are the M2C PDS systems in that missile pods or lasers? I can't answer that question at the moment. So that would be my view. So yes, you'll get a P, or you'll get a P if you've got a Kraken, maybe, for applying the K kit. Socially Confused has a question in brackets, but no question. Thank you for that wonderful question, Socially Confused. Ben, what do we think the price of the Asgard would be?
I think it's got to be either equal or greater than the Vanguard, unfortunately, now. I just think there's no way that they can't. Yeah, I don't know. You tell me, Algared. What's your thoughts?
Given that it seems very close to a Vanguard, yeah, it's got to be at least the same price as a Vanguard, being based off the same frame, and therefore it's either going to be more or the same. It can't be anything less. If it's more, I would hope it's, yeah, I hate trying to predict the prices because the prices are, in my opinion, always too high.
Yeah.
But I would say 10 to 20% more. As a rough guide, but
oh, my chair's busted. I can't fix it. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just going all over the place. It's like I'm sitting on a pogo stick. It's really weird. Anyway, that's going to cost me a pretty penny because this was like an $800 chair. Anyway, that was something I did not plan for. Anyway,
well, welcome to our world.
Well, it's killing my back already because I got to lean right forward now. I don't know if I can sit here for another 2 hours on this thing. That's the problem.
Pop a pillow behind it. That might work.
Yeah, I might grab a pillow. That's a good idea. Missed.
So, welcome to the Algared Show.
Just do some questions, Algared.
I am going to answer questions. So, Monster Avery, did you all decide the debate between if it was the Idris or the Ironclad for the 4th ship? No, we haven't even. I don't think we've even looked at that debate at present. I still think we may get the Ironclad. The Drake Day just doesn't make sense because Drake don't do the Idris. Drake have something. They've certainly in the files worked on the Drake hangar, but we haven't seen anything of that. We know they're not changing the halls and just changing the consoles for renting your ships. And that was something you'd picked up really early when they were saying that it was rotating.
Yeah.
But the halls weren't doing anything. And in the video, they actually said the same thing. The halls are basically staying the same. They've tried to make sure that all the new ships
You hear
are
that?
looking really good. And it's just those consoles that are changing on a daily basis. So I think we'll get the Ironclad. I think it fits with the 18-month window. It's certainly where we expected it to be if it comes out. I, at the absolute bare minimum, would expect to see a walkthrough. I can't see anything other than that.
What do you
think? Sticking to the 18-month window.
What's the question?
That's for the Ironclad. Have we entered the debate between whether it's going to be an Idris or an Ironclad for the 4th ship?
It could be both. Let's be honest. There's no way to know until they do it. There is an entire hangar in the files based around
Drake.
Yeah. Which is why one of the reasons why I think it's not rotating, because they knew straight away we would know if it rotated.
Yeah. So there's something that I think, and that's the reason they're hiding it. There's or not rotating. There's some big surprise they want. Could we be getting the Idris P? We can walk around it. But does seem to be some things in that seem to say it's not ready yet, such as the turrets are flipped. And thank you, Glass Sword, for that $1.99 chat. And you've got a question, so we'll take that right away. You need money for a new chair? Here you go. $1.99.
Yeah.
Jack Raven, $10 super chat. I'm so dumb. I'm sorry for busting you up over the 5 beds X. Here, get a new chair. Does that mean, Jack, you're actually saying yes, there are 5 beds because you went and checked?
I can probably pull up the video for everyone to look. It's fine.
So yeah, so in terms of that,
it's so uncomfortable now. It's actually like,
yep,
it's kind of like sitting like that.
That's how you feel you're sitting. Well,
no, because it's busted on one side but not on the other. But because it pulls on one side, it then drops the other one. But
yeah, I know.
New chair time. That's
the discomfort's like my chest.
Yes.
So yeah, Monster. I think it could be both. Given the fact that we've also got those Arian PDC turrets being shown, that could also be an indicator we are getting the P. But your guess is as good as mine. But as Execute, it could be both, and I tend to agree with that. CIG like to give us enough rope to hang ourselves. Cody Fox 00 says, do you think the Asgard will be more expensive or cheaper than the Valkyrie? I tend to think, I haven't given that thought. I'd have to look at the size of the ships. I haven't done that. So I'd be wanting to look at the size of the ships, the role of the ships, the armaments on the ships, the components on the ships, because CIG have always said those things matter. Asgard, cheaper or more expensive than a Valk?
I'd expect to be more expensive. All right, so this is my housemate's spare. It's terrible. Too low. At least it's not breaking my back.
So there you go. More expensive is Execute's view. He's had a better look than I have, and so that would be it.
Well, again, when you're essentially making it so much bigger.
Yeah. So the last time that they talked about this, like all of the parts of a ship get like priced out, and that's how they kind of come up with the price of it. I think those drop seats are very, very, very expensive in Sig's eyes. So that's why I think it's going to stay exactly the same price as the Valk. The Valk is already very overpriced for what it is.
I was hopeful that it was going to be cheaper, actually, but it kind of makes sense actually, because if you make it the same, people can't upgrade from it, and if you put it you put it under, the same thing happens. But like, so many people are going to be pissed off. Like I've talked to a few Valk owners that are just really annoyed. Because it's like, well, I want, this is what I wanted it to be.
This is the version I want.
And it's not what it is. So I'd kind of hope that they offer some kind of upgrade for it, because I think they're going to have a lot, especially if they make it so that that to get that, you know, the Legionnaire skin, you've got to buy the thing outright again. I think they're going to piss off so many people.
Yeah. Yeah, $375 for a Valk at the moment.
Yeah,
and I would dread to think a ship. You know, I always find the ships are overpriced.
Well, for $25, I was saying on Grimstream, you get a Hercules for that, and that carries 2.
Yeah,
$25 and it carries 2, and then again it was about $125. I'd have to double check the prices, but you get to an M2, and I'd be taking the M2 far before I took this.
But if as I said on the stream, that the Asgard has stealth skin, that's got to be an advantage over an M2, which is a slightly smaller ship as well. So, but yeah, it's $375 before. You know, I'd hate to see $400 for it. That's just seems to me an obscene price. And as Lemmings chimed in, those seats do seem to have to be more. And as I was saying, CIG have said the components work out the price. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen the Asgard with a few more, with at least 4 seats down below, but CIG have their reasons. Maybe it's to help keep the price down.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think it was, because that area, like right underneath where the cockpit is, it's very barren down there. It's just components and the one engineering station on one side, and then components and 1 seat on the other side. That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. At least with that, you can see, you know where your components are. So I suppose that's an advantage. And given it's well inside the ship, it probably gives them a little bit more protection from being shot at from outside. Yeah. So I don't know.
And another thing that I was thinking about with it too is it's not going to fit what is it? It's the one with the guns or the ballista. Yeah. Because it's not going to have the clearance for those ginormous size 5 torpedoes on the ballista. So really, you're going to be down to the troop transport one, which I'm pretty sure is the Spartan. Don't throw anything at me if I'm wrong.
No, it is a Spartan, and it's got eight space for 8, a squad of 8, fully equipped and armored, according to the wiki. So yeah.
So that to me knocks a lot of value off of it if you're talking about it transporting an Atlas platform, because that one Atlas platform that it can move is by far the worst one.
Yeah.
And another thing that was talked about earlier, Algared, I'm pretty sure it doesn't fit a Nova.
Yeah.
Well, I've got good news. It's still covered under warranty. So you gotta get a new one. Right, just checking that. Sorry, because No, my chair. So what? Just a thing about me, because of my bipolar, I stress about certain things. Like if I can't find something. To give you an example, I lost my red mug this week, and I can't find it anywhere. I've been stressing like crazy over it.
The problem. That's why everything's falling apart for you today.
Yeah, but I would have stressed about that chair if I didn't go check. So I just went and checked. Warranty's covered, so now I can kind of like de-stress about it, because then I don't have to worry where I'm going to pull money from to get a chair. I do feel like a midget though. Like I feel like
Yeah, you have shrunk.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I can probably turn the camera a little bit. Hold on.
Yep.
There we go. Now I'm too.
I would have thought it should be able to take a Nova, because if it's where we thought it was with the tanks behind it, you'd expect it to be able to take at least one of those. But that's just me looking at the layout.
Yeah, it's.
You may be able.
Why would? Sorry, it's just. Sorry, that's a really oxymoron thing to say, Algared, because the normally Valkyrie holds a medium, so the only size difference is to go up to the large, and as soon as you go to the large, it's all metric space, so it's got to be a large vehicle. It's a very silly thing to say if you think it through.
But Lemming's point was he thought the height wasn't big enough for.
Why do you reckon there's the actual big thing?
Yeah, look, I tend to think it'll take an over, but
I think it'll. I think it'll take all of them.
So you think it'll take a ballista?
I think it'll take all of them. Yep. I think it's designed to take large vehicles. I think half the reason why they've got so, if you look at it, it's almost cathedral high. It's so much taller than the other one.
It is huge.
Yeah. Emergency chair
Byron
fund. Get a good one. Thank you, Brian Havoc.
Thank you for
Appreciate
that.
it.
Thank you for that $50 emergency chair fund.
Well, hopefully it's covered under warranty. So if it's covered under warranty, we'll go and drink in Algared on Ryan.
Woohoo! We'll go drinking. Thank you for the cup of geisha coffee. Yes.
Yeah. If it's faster at getting a single ship in there and it's kind of like more armored and stuff like that, I can totally see it working in that regard as well. There is a reason for this thing to exist, like, right? But again, when you're giving advice on what ships to buy and stuff like that, you've got to look at it from a pocket point of view. If you already have a Valkyrie, this is the ship that would be speaking to you. That is the people. But for example, say you had an M2 or Hercules, I don't think you'd go backwards to this.
No.
Lemming, would I put that to you as well? Would you go backwards from a... Now, I know how much you hate the Hercules, like I do, but you wouldn't go backwards to this. I just can't see a reason why you would.
It's a different role. It's a different, like...
I'm talking out of game versus in game. I'm talking purely dollars is what I'm talking, right? That whole, I've got the bigger one, I'd earn the other one in game. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend a Valk or an Asgard, no matter really what its price is, for somebody that's really trying to get the most out of their fleet and like trying to do a fix my fleet or something. It just doesn't offer that. It's not that.
Yeah. Starjump says he just sent irrelevant pics.
Yeah. I'm getting yelled at by multiple people. Calm it down. I had my chair and my back is killing me now because of what happened on the chair. Yeah, so there's a tank. And you can even see there's clearance above that. So yeah, I'd be really.
I'm not looking at the screen. Let me open up the screen.
Okay, everyone, we're waiting for Lemming. Okay, we just gotta wait.
Sorry, everyone. Okay. I'm happy to stand corrected. Yeah. I did not think that it would fit.
See, and that's why you can do stuff with Lemming, as in you can do speculation stuff, because you've got to be able to have your mind changed. If you can't have your mind changed and say that you're wrong, yeah, you definitely can't do speculation.
And that's why you. And the other thing is, that's why you never do speculation by yourself.
Oh, here, this is a lot tighter. So, hang on, maybe it's a lot tighter.
So that.
Hang on. No, I've got another piece of evidence here that probably goes for you actually. But I think the scale is wrong looking at this photo though. But Grim sent this to me, and I think the scale looks wrong now. And I'd have to say that, look, that looks like it's got more space to me. That looks way too close to the roof compared to that one.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is the problem is going to be the barrel. So I was thinking about driving it in straight. So that had to be backed in. So that makes complete sense to me that it's going to fit there. But the barrel is going to hit the top of the ship if it's at an angle driving straight in.
Yeah.
Okay,
so backing in makes 100% sense to me.
Yeah. Going through all these Discord messages.
Maybe that hole, where we saw that hole in the top, maybe that's for the barrel to stick out because it's so long. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm being facetious at that point.
Yeah, I did get a message from Jack Raven. He says it does have 5 beds. So I thought cool. Glad that's all fixed.
Yep.
Yep, Asgard loader, you already got those. Cool. Yep, all those. We've kind of gone through things. I get so many messages of photos of that thing. Right, just checking mod things. Here is a brighter if you need it.
Yep.
Oh, that's this is the thing. I think that could be a trick, by the way. So Dafty Digits did send this, and there is a version of the Guardian in that video that has this. So does it still have? Is it like a quiet? It actually still has the dampener on it. Now, does that change the Guardian for you at all? Or did they just finally see the sense and not make a quiet version because what was the point? Because there's actually next to no difference between the Guardian and Guardian Quai. You might as well just take the Quai. So yeah, maybe they just saw sense and got rid of the second variant. And so it's just the Guardian MX and it just comes with everything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's possible.
But yeah, if there's
But
that could have been
then
a way to separate them. One had the dampener and one didn't. But if they, again, I prefer this over the 2 size 5s personally.
I'm looking at that picture though, and to me, having watched it, the video where they talk about the missions, that kind of looks like an ambush mission setup.
Yes, that's exactly where it's taken from. But you are tangenting to
so
something I know you want to talk about, but we're talking about this, and then we'll go to what you want to talk about.
But I could see, that fitting with that style of mission, and so is the choir there? It would be. Have they ditched it? Maybe.
All right, now you can talk about
still
the
bringing
missions.
it out?
Now you can talk about the missions. Go on. I know you want to. Go on.
Well, I was just saying, but that just looks like an ambush mission, and that fits in with, you'd want a quantum dampener or something to stop your target fleeing away, and so that was it. That was all I was going to say in that.
Yeah.
But I do, since you've opened up the topic of missions as to discuss, I do like the idea of the different missions, but they still feel flat in terms of, like the one for going to destroy that, taking out the beacon. You go to the beacon. Oh, yeah, it looks like it's been hacked by the bad guys, so you may as well destroy it.
Yeah, look, there's a couple of people saying in chat too, it could just be the Guardian Choir, or it is the Guardian Choir. I don't think there's enough there to tell me which variant it is, because we don't know. We've got no screenshots behind of the MX. So again, as I said, most of the mysteries left are on the Guardian MX, and so this will be another one. Is this just a Guardian Choir, or is it the Guardian MX, and it also comes with a dampener? We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah. I think that's a waiting game one there. Yeah.
Enough rope to hang ourselves.
Yep, that's it.
So to me, the Guardian MX solves the biggest problem with the Guardian, and that's sustained firepower. It only has 2 size 5s on it.
Okay. Well, hang on. Grim just said in chat, it's not the MX. I have the MX model. So there you go. That answers that question. Then that is a Quai. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Questions, Algared? Yeah, please.
Socially confused says, how confident do you think the Idris is released this patch even?
We're not confident, and I was with Grim. I think my brain kind of goes to things that they've said and promised and stuff like that. But by the same token, they've spoiled the Idris enough now. Like, we've done multiple tours on it over the year. The whole reason they said they were holding on to it was to release it.
Because it was the story and all the rest of it.
Exactly. But we've gone through every single room. They've updated all the rooms. They did say that it was going to come out after Squadron 42 was meant to release. We know that it was meant to release at the end of the last year. It's been delayed, obviously, by a couple of years. We don't know the exact reasons, but the World Tour is one of them, because that's what that World Tour was meant to be, the release of the game, and they go around and celebrate it with everyone. And then basically they said that the Idris will come out shortly after Squadron 42 comes out. Well, that's ironically Invictus. That's 6 months after.
And
they would have had people working on the ship ready to go, and now it's kind of ready to release. I don't know if they're going to release it or they're going to sit on it. It could go either way.
And that if they do release it now, it fits in with what we were expecting CitizenCon to be last year, which was initially the release, and everything said it was, and then we saw those changes came that fairly early that indicated to us it wasn't the release, but.
There is a bit of information. There's a couple of things pointing to it possibly coming out, though. So the subflare that has the Idris on it is very telling. And there's also people found a link on the website that says, how play SC or play.sc, and then you put /Idris was found, and it's now been changed, and it automatically redirects you to the com links about the Idris P. So why is it automatically directing you to the Idris P and stuff like that? So it's almost like they've got a link set up ready to go for the Idris. So again, things on the website moving around. It could just be coincidence, but
look, I think other evidence that links to that is those bearing PDS turrets that showed, because you look at the Idris K-Pack. And you replace remote turrets with PDSs, and those PDSs are from bearing.
Yeah. Look,
So,
I would say this for in regards to the Ironclad and the Idris, I would go in expecting that they're probably not going to come, and then when they come, be surprised.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yep,
You know,
that's always the best way.
because like I don't want to sit here and say they're coming, but again, they are the two potential other fourth ship that are coming. And I also, the other thing I'd put out there, and I think Algared, you agree with me, and we did mention it on the video on the weekend, is there is no concepts even outed yet. So there's definitely more coming, and you usually get at least one concept. So that's, well, for me and you, I think that's the biggest news.
Yeah, the fact that it doesn't seem to be a concept because there's so many new ships coming. And like, even in the video where they talk about the ships, you know, they said, you know, Disco at the end says next week we'll look at the other ships that are coming. The other ships and vehicles that are coming for Invictus.
Yeah.
So
John R3 saying, love your take usually, but saying they won't sell the Idris is copium. They said no F8. Yeah, this I did go over that. That's what I'm trying to say. There's evidence both ways for and against, John, is what I'm trying to say. So there's no way to say it's coming or it's not. I'm just, I said the whole thing. I literally didn't say that. I said literally with the way the Idris is, they've got all these, like the shirts, they've got the website address, but also they promised that it wasn't coming until Squadron 42 comes. But that would have been about now. So there's no way to say it's coming or it's not. That's what I'm trying to say. So have your mind open to it's coming, but also don't be disappointed if it doesn't. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, there's no definitive evidence either way. There's a lot of connected dots.
Enough rope to hang ourselves. But yeah, look, as I said, you know, go in with the attitude of a view that it's not coming.
Yeah.
Go in that way. You're not disappointed if it doesn't come.
Like this.
But if it comes, go in like this. But if it doesn't come, then you're happy, joy. I think it could go either way. I think there's a lot of evidence that could say it is coming, but there's also evidence that could say it's not. And there's enough rope to hang ourselves, and there's a lot of dots that would indicate it is. Like you said, you know, the sub flare, the fact that if Squadron had released at CitizenCon last year, which we fully expected it was going to originally, based on everything we heard, that would have meant soon after would have been Invictus, which would have made perfect sense. So there's lots of stuff that indicates that.
They can even modify what they're doing and just release the Idris P and go, oh, we were talking about the M.
Yep.
You know, but and there are modules in near the Idris that talk about the Idris K kit as well. So there's a missile turret that is off the K kit. It's literally is the front turret of the K kit. So you could get the P and K, or just the P, or all three.
Indeed.
Again, it's just like I've got to the point with the really big ones, right? Where I know it's a waiting game. Like, and Algared, you'd be right up there waiting on Javelin as an example. Javelin's been ready for damn years. They've both kind of been off and on. How many different variants would we have seen these days over the? I think it's like 4 versions of the Javelin and Idris's. They've updated and polished those things so much. But again, as I said, no surprises to me and you. And I know we're not the only ones. It's probably people in chat that's been following this as long as you and I have. So.
Yeah, well, that K kit has not only the Hurston Dynamic bringing out awesome weapons for size 10 Exodus laser beam. It's got 2 Amon and Reese Harrow anti-ship missile launchers, and it's got the 4 point defense turrets, which replace remote turrets. The nice thing is, I'd always thought they'd work on the MPAC as well, and for a long time I would have been wrong. But I think it was John Crew came out on Spectrum ages ago and said, "Oh, the Graycat kit will work on the M," which was great.
Yeah, Algared, your lawnmower is showing.
Yes, I can't help that.
Lemming, you still there? Nope, Lemming, he's gone. I was going to show this.
I'm here.
Grim sent me this. This is a screenshot of the back of the MX. That's just for you. Okay. You seen it? Lemming?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
No, yeah, I wasn't talking about the The back end. I was
who
talking
was
about
it?
the sustained firepower of the 4 guns.
Oh God, sorry, I've mixed you up with someone else. Someone else was talking about that.
It's fine.
It was one of the chatters. My bad. Sorry. Apologies. I don't know. Somehow mentally assigned it to you. Too much going on upstairs.
I think we've done that one. The sneak peek.
Yep.
So Maraki says, "Where did the Paladin hype go?" I'm looking forward to that one a lot.
I think it with the like I had someone when we were on Grimstream kind of go, "Oh, these are all in 3D," but when you zoom in on all the images of the Paladin, they've essentially taken the 3D grey box model and they've drawn across the top of it. All the concepts are hand drawn. You can zoom right in and you can see that they've all had that almost hand drawn look on them, right? There are no proper 3D images of that thing. I think that was why they were making this. They realized they could make the Paladin, right? And they went, we can chop this bit off here and stuff like that. And so I think the Paladin, roughly around about, if you think about it, that was 6 months ago. As they were getting, so they were 12 months in on this, they went, what if we took this and did this? And I think that means at best, the Paladin, at 18 months, 6 months from where the Paladin was announced to now, plus another 12 months, is Invictus next year. I think that is what we're looking at, Algared. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but that would be where I would be expecting the Paladin. 12 months away.
I kind of agree with that. Jack Archer, thank you for that $2 super chat.
This is retracted. He's saying.
Retract?
And I'll be stuck here forever trying to figure out what he said.
Love your show. You guys are awesome. Algared is the best ever.
No, no one would ever say that.
No
one would never awesome give us money. No, I better not say that because then we'll get a heap of money telling me how awesome Algared is. No, they would all say that. Yes, they would all say that. That's true.
Yeah.
You want me to bring up the Paladin pictures, hand drawn? I'll try. I don't want to go through this in detail like too much, but yeah, I guess I can bring them up briefly.
Well, while you're doing that, because we're just kind of talking about the silhouettes, piss poor Pete. We should ignore his question because he's the cause of everything going wrong. How many of the upcoming 12 mentioned monthly report ships do you reckon are silhouettes from CitizenCon?
We'll go through that in a minute because I've got to bring up more images, so it takes me away. Oh, they've got the new website of it that I hate, so it's because it's very graphic intensive, and
I'll skip that one.
Stupid. So hang on, no. So they've changed the whole website. I can't look, and now the links don't work. So you've got to actually, oh god damn it! Right. So if you actually zoom in, you can see that they're hand drawn. You can see it. It's really obvious. They're all concepted. You can tell from the palette changes. I didn't see that. If you go into the next one, you can do the same thing again. It's just, you got to remember that they're drawn in a really high resolution. It's really obvious to people that work in the industry. Same thing again. You can see the palette changes and stuff like that. You can even see it, the way it's done. Right? It's not really 3D. It's drawn. People are very good at drawing in Photoshop. Who knew you could actually make things in Photoshop and they looked real? Anyway,
radical concept.
Yeah, radical concept. So they're not all proper 3D. They are all concepts. Every single one of them, even the smoke and stuff like that. You kind of get to do an eye for it. This is a really good one. This one, where is it? That one with the people. Even the one with the people is drawn, by the way. You can. God, where is it? I've lost it. I do not like this new website, COG. This is designed for console gamers, not PC gamers. That is awful. So yeah, even parts of this is like, there are parts of this that are 3D, right? But then there are other parts of it that you can see that have been drawn in. So yeah, it's a mix mash. Like, the fire effects and stuff like that. They don't have a lot of those in game. It's just all Photoshop, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. So yeah, that you can, they spend a lot of time on it, right? Because they got to bring it up to scale so you can. They're trying to sell you on it, right? But yeah, none of them are real kind of proper things. They're all just done for concept. And the way they would have done it, if I actually go to the wiki, it makes it even more obvious. Just give me a second. Star Citizen Wiki.
And Jack.
Oh, while you bring that up.
Jack, thank you for that $5 super chat. He says the Aegis logo is on the wall to the left of the TAC from the Inside Star Citizen video this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the concept. Out of context, who was that from?
And that was the super chat from Jack Archer.
Yeah, so you can see here, they literally on the wiki have the white box images. So all they've done is taken that white box model, positioned whatever the shot is, and then painted over it. That's how they're all made. So it's almost like how they did. You remember when the first 3D cartoons came out, Algared? You remember? Yep. That's essentially the same thing they're doing, but they're only doing one frame, so they can do it heaps more detailed and stuff like that. That's how it looks like it's 3D, but it's not really 3D. They're essentially coloring in. It's literally this is a 3D coloring book. Is way to explain it.
The other thing that kind of hints to that not coming is the Paladin was only announced in November 2024, which is still not 18 months. Not quite, but
not
18 months, only a few months yet, 5, 6.
If you look at the chunkier bits on the Asgard, you can see how they've been inspired by how those bits could easily be used when making the Paladin, because they did make it quite a bit thicker.
This is the last thing I was going to say is, you can see those guns. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. Did I mention this before about the guns being under the turret? I can't remember if I did or not.
I don't think you did, but I did point the guns as being 2 of the pilot control guns.
Yeah, so you've got 2 under the chin, 2 out here, and then there's meant to be 2 more, and they're the 2 that I can't find yet. I don't know where they are.
I think Lemming pointed out they're on the wings.
They're on the wings.
They're right on the other side. So do you see where those 2 are, right where your cursor just was?
Yeah.
Like they're just right on the other side.
What do you mean the other side?
Like the other side of the cockpit. So the cockpit's in the middle?
Like 2 here and 2 on the other side.
Yeah.
That would explain why Grim was saying he thought they looked offset. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Grim, if you hear what Lemmy just said, that actually does add up. So you literally have 4 shooting from above. That's different. I don't think we've got any ship like that.
Nope.
Yeah. All right. I think that's everything. All right. Back on to the questions, Algared, when you're ready, mate.
So Pissball Pete's question, the upcoming 12 monthly reports ships, do you reckon are silhouettes from CitizenCon?
Okay, right. God, it never stops, does it? Right. So let's go to the blue silhouette. Essentially, got to open these one at a time. So it's going to take me a hot minute. Sorry. Open with this one, and so this is obviously the Graycat Cav, or what was the cab. So it's now the Graycat MTC.
TV.
You say
MTC? Yep.
You said MTV.
I think I said MTV,
but I agree with you. It should be called the MTV. All the others were called something TV. Why the hell is this all MTC all of a sudden? STV, PTV, like that. UTV.
MTC frustrates me because it's the name of a college I went to. So it's a bit like your what is it? AIS.
I think I just realized what that guy was saying about the Aegis logos on the left of the wall. Yeah, but the thing that's on the left wall over there is actually the Super Hornet. There's also a logo on the right-hand side wall, and that's because it's made by that's the Asgard, Anvil Asgard. So there's one on the left and right, 2 Asgard logos, and obviously because they needed to be symmetrical, they just chucked another ship in there, and the ship that they chucked in there is the Mark II Super Hornet. Let's go. Is there any others in this? I'm just going through real quick. No. Yes, there's that one. Open that with. So obviously this one from the blue silhouette is the Guardian Quai. But that's it there. And I think that is it, Algared. I don't think there's anything else in the blue silhouettes. I'll just double check.
Yeah. So that question was how many of the ones on the monthly report are blue silhouettes? Yep. So the Apollo was on there.
Oh, was it? Oh, monthly report.
That's mentioned.
My bad. Sorry, I put it out of context. Sorry. Yeah, monthly report.
So how many how many of those 12 ships mentioned in the monthly report are blue silhouette ships?
I don't know. No clue. I haven't actually sat there and.
I don't think many, because most of. So the only one that we don't think we know what it is the likely consolidated Outland ship.
Yeah.
That wasn't mentioned on that report. So yeah.
Do you know? I'm just going to show you this real quick, right? And I heard this. So this there was a content creator, and you'll have to excuse me, dude. I totally forgot your name. He's a very small channel, but I watched his video on this, and his friend named it the Drake Flappy Bird. And I think that name is brilliant. It is the most memeable name I've ever heard. So I'm going to call this the Drake Flappy Bird, or just the Flappy Bird, until we know what it's called, because I think that's brilliant. The Flappy Bird. See, I can't unsee it once I heard it, but I don't know. Algared, you don't find that funny? He's got his serious face on.
Yeah, I have. Santo Bell sent me a pic of what he thought the Flappy Bird would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it was his.
Well, send it to me. Send it to me. And I'll be able to tell you pretty quickly.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, Dafty Digit sent me a little video here. I'm going to sit. No, it just wants to download it. Unfortunately, I can't easily show that on screen, Daft. Let me see if I can add. No, I need to do a multimedia source, and I'll just call that DLC. Okay.
I still find it hard to think of that as a Drake ship. To me, it just.
Yeah, I know, but
yeah, but it could be. I've always said it could be, but
the group consensus. Here we go. So have a quick look at this. I'm just going to play this once and then get rid of it. So covered mine and Algared's faces for now. But yeah, apparently someone's spawned it and they're walking around it. So that's the best I think we're going to get of. Yeah, they're not quite as integrated there, Algared. They are sitting above it.
Yeah, and sitting below. It's almost a Connie-esque attachment to the nacelles type.
Yeah.
Gun placement, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is. Hang on, I'm just. There you are. Yeah, so it's pretty on par.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the inside's any different. I don't reckon. No, it's exactly the same. So it's really just the wings that have changed. It's exactly the same. Okay.
But unlike most fighters, the advantage of that is it's got components on the inside, so you can actually do repairs.
Well, it kind of shows why.
A lot easier.
It kind of makes a lot more sense now why the Guardian and Guardian Quai exist. Because look, I never would have made the Guardian. I just would have gone straight to the Quai. It makes a lot more sense now because this was obviously planned the whole way along. Yeah, we agree with you, SA. We don't think it's Drake. It's too complicated. But one of the things we're learning is they just don't give a shit about their own lore. Lemming, you got some. Oh no, that's your. I thought it was someone in the background with Lemming, but it's your chainsaw going off. Whatever is it? The lawnmower. I can hear it brr, brr, cutting in. There. Oh wait, that was the shield there. Oh, that's very important. Let's go back and wait. Let's go back. So that is a shield.
Yeah, were those screens coming on, or is that a blast shield?
Oh, I'm just gonna double check, but that did look like screens, didn't it? I think it's a. Yeah,
oh, those look like screens.
Yeah, I think it's screens, but I think it is a shield. It just doesn't go up and down like it does on the MX.
Yeah.
That's okay. So you're better covered in this. Okay. Well, we've got to answer to whether it has the shield. I think you'll find from the outside it'll be solid. Okay. There you can see there. You can see the thruster there has moved. It's not on the end anymore. It's there. That's kind of cool. Where'd you get that from, Duff? Just tell me in the Discord chat where you got that from, bro. Oh, so the guns actually come out too. Wow.
And gimbal.
And gimbaled. There you go. They're just on the top. Yeah, 2 side 12s. None on the bottom? None on the bottom. There we go. That answers. Oh, there's no mysteries left now. That's answered everything. And it's definitely a
you
shield.
can also see
Yeah.
If you go back, you can actually see the shield is solid. So
yeah, that's what I was about to say. You beat me to the punch, but yeah, look at that. That's interesting. Okay, I'll let that play through. Oh, good. Thank you for sending that, Duff. That was that's real good. Good find. Yeah, it doesn't look like it retracts like the other one though. So, interesting. But that's going to be really. This is the thing I ask. Is like when you get taken out with EMP and all that, right? The disadvantage becomes. Can you hold your mute button down when you're not talking? Because it's just whirring like a crazy mofo. Is when you get totally depowered. Are you not going to be able to see what's going on? Oh wait, they did. Okay, well that answers that question. Hang on, how did they open that? So it is. It's an MX. It is literally the Fury. It's literally the Fury. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad that that's how it is, because that also means when it depowers, that'll open automatically. Because I was going to say, imagine if you're sitting in there, and you know how you get taken out and you just become what do they call that when you're floating dead thing? God, I've just brain farted. Soft death, right? When you're soft death, can you imagine if you couldn't see the enemy coming and you're just sitting there going, "Oh shit, do I get out?" And obviously they'll just make it so it opens now. So yeah.
I would like to see that ball, that cockpit shoot out as an escape pod. But that's just me.
Some people are saying send me some links. So I'm assuming that these
wasn't the Talons supposed to do that, Algared?
From memory, yeah. Which I liked. I like that idea of the Tavara and escape pod just shoot you out.
Okay, yeah, I found the other links he's talking about. Apparently there's a new gun for the Nova tank as well, and it makes it into. So hang on, I'm give me a second. I'm gonna have to do some things in the background here. Just bear with me. Doing it live, as I always say.
Chris,
yes.
Every ship in Star Citizen is overpriced.
Yeah. Oh, this is with a ballistic Gatling. I think that'll be very popular as a like a flak gun almost, Algared. That totally changes the Nova tank for me a lot. That makes it a lot more interesting.
You turn it into an AA gun.
Yeah.
And the downside is you're
not as good. You're not as good against other tanks, are you?
But you've got lots of ballistic ammo, which is nice. But
very scary to ships and inventory. So yeah. All right. Let me see what else we got on here.
I could see that being like that's answering a problem that would have been seen on the ground. There's nothing really to help counter the in terms of weapons, ships that they're coming in. So options for tankers or infantry. So yeah.
All right. So this is one. These are all by Hater, by the way, off his Discord. So credit where credit is due. This is him looking at. Oh God, that looks tiny. Oh no, it's because he's moved the camera up and he's rotating around it. Yeah. And yeah, we were right about that turret, Algared. See how it's gone back along the track? We were right about that. Yeah, cool. All right, so that's components. Yeah, that'll be components. Like a little component shelf. All right, so for those who want to know how he's done this, he's essentially he's taken the build, gone into the build, and then used it to spawn it offline. That's how he does these, and that's how he's able to see them early. Yeah, that means they're all in the game, ready to go. But that doesn't stop them dropping a stealth patch next week that drops in the bigger ship as well.
Indeed.
Potentially. So at the moment, I would say both big ships are off the table unless there's another patch or something like that. So yeah.
Now that looked like 2 suit lockers at the back as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by messages from SA. Yeah, I do like the little HUD interface area. It's pretty cool. I missed all that. I got totally distracted by SA. I'm gonna have to go back. He distracted me. Oh, the sound too. I didn't even. Can you hear the sound? don't know if they're going to be able to hear it though. All right. Sorry about that. Just was clicked off it. Little ramp. Mainly component access.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 gun racks, 2 seats. That 2 suit lockers,
One
and that's
seat.
it? Oh, 1
Yep,
seat.
and 1 seat because you've got
Oh,
one
the
seat for
pilot. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it is
That's
just
no
a
other seat.
yeah, okay, so its main advantage is suit lockers, and 2 people is what I was expecting.
But it's just one person.
I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't. Like, if it's taking up the same space as the Ursa and all you're getting is 2 suit lockers, couldn't that have been an Ursa variant?
Well, 2 suit lockers, heavy weapon, 2 rifles. But yeah.
The only thing, yeah, but track it all back. The only thing missing is the 2 suits. Off the
It
Ursa.
seems like much less. Much less wide.
Yeah, it is less wide. I'll give you that. But I'm wondering if it's a small instead of a medium now. The small makes sense, but if it's the same size, why would you bother?
Yeah.
I always thought this was an enclosed Cyclone that had climate control in it.
It'll definitely be slower than the Cyclone. Definitely.
Yeah.
Almost feels like like watching him drive. It almost drives like a mule.
Yeah.
Love the interface though. Really love that interface for a Graycat.
But
That's
it's
nice.
a small. I think it's a small. It's like a Cyclone. It's definitely not like an Ursa.
Yep.
I'd
have to agree. That would be my hope as well. Yeah, looking at it, it does look like a small. But that's the turret. Wait, does he control the turret? Yeah. So that's how you deploy it, and it goes along that rail. But can you like? I want to pause it there. If you
it'd be nice to see the turret being deployed.
Right there. So you can see where I'm talking about this line where it looks like this is going to crack and open back there. But that also explains why the turret has to be on the track. Why the hell would it be on a track? Why the hell? Tell me the reason for that to be on the track. There is no reason for it to be on the track unless it, in one of the variants, it slides forward so the other can open. There's no reason for that to go down. Why? Well, I guess maybe it fits in more vehicles if the turret goes down. That could be another reason. Okay, I retract my first statement.
Yeah.
But yeah, my hope is that in a variant that cracks open, and essentially that's the missile variant, which would explain the MTX moniker as well, because you've got the MTC and the MTX, and we have the MXs on the Furies and stuff like that. So I'm hoping we get another variant of this. I don't know, 6-12 months time.
I think at the bare minimum, it shows that the way they've built it is modular.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're not getting a modular version, but they've built it modular so devs can actually go about and make changes and bring out variants.
Yep.
It would be my view. So.
Yeah. I would hope that there are some variants of this, because of this, again, we keep saying they seem to sell them from worst to best. This just seems kind of superfluous. Let's be honest. And I'm reading similar things in chat. But if you start to think of this as a base and then start to think of some other variants for it, it's a little bit like what happened with the Intrepid. When the very first things I said, start thinking of variants, and you start to think of variants and you go, wow, this could be heaps cooler, right? It's the same thing. Now start pondering variants, and very quickly you'll come up with some cooler ideas. And
I think one of the things that stick out more to indicate there's probably a variant coming is the fact that there are 6 skins for this already.
Yeah, that's another one. That's a really big
probably
one.
the biggest thing. And but yeah, I could be totally wrong. Could be totally off the track, but.
So there's actually another thing that I want to mention is on this show floor when they showed it yesterday during the episode, it showed 2 of them on the floor. I think one of them got cut from the show, but they didn't want to address the setting.
What if there's 2 of them? What if there is 2 coming?
Yep. What
if we are getting an MTX and an MTC, and one is this and one is the other? But I'd firmly believe that Peter, for example, would have had 2 walkthroughs if that was the case. So you have to wait and see. You're probably right. It probably was cut from the floor. All right. So this is the TAC. Let's have a look at this one. Definitely got a different matte skin on it there. I got very matte. Very.
Those turrets look ridiculous.
They do look a bit goofy, don't they?
They do look a bit. It would have been so much nicer to have the Furies tacked in there, and you can almost see.
When they put the electrode in the guy's mouth and that strap him in. The turrets. A big electrocute. Nice little rear missile turrets there, though. Hammer at the back. Exactly the same cargo bay. See, that's my whole point about the Max. There's no additional cargo loss. It might be stat-wise, but it doesn't look like that. Oh, that's right. You lose the middle bit, don't you?
Yep, because you get your med bit.
So, yeah, there will be a difference in cargo. But I do find it weird you go straight from cargo to medical to dropship area. But it makes sense. When you're bringing the troops back in, they go straight into medical. So, yeah.
You know, the injured guys, it's an emergency, drag them in, chuck them on the bed, yeah. So,
Hater, if you're watching this at a later date, please turn on the engine lights before you do a ship tour. Just a bit of FYI info. Thanks, bro. Well, those seats. Okay, so you've got those seats there. That's the dropship area. They've modified the dropship area to be smaller because that's like only half the length.
Yeah,
Ooh,
but 4 seats either side.
Do you like the little gun turret thing? That's pretty different. Okay. But what's that area there in the middle then? Oh, they're the turrets. I'm an idiot. Right. That's different. Very
I remember they're remote turrets.
They remind me of the original.
I know they're man turrets.
Do you remember the Reclaimer, the Redeemer turrets when they from the original variant where they went kind of like through a tunnel and then they disconnected? That's what they remind me of.
Yeah, that front turret in the Redeemer.
Yeah,
you get in and the seat would go down the tunnel.
That's it. Yeah, you got it. I don't know why firing sideways is still a thing with these guys. It's never going to be a thing. Like unless you're shooting down, but. See, the thing that Ada missed there is I wanted to know if the turret turned to fire forward. I'm pretty sure it does, but they need to really be able to shoot forward. With the way combat is at the moment, if you want them to be valuable,
it doesn't go 90%. That was already answered.
Oh, really? So they don't shoot forward?
No.
Ooh.
They can go a little bit forward.
That severely drops the quality of this ship in my book. Like a lot. If that is the case, because they really need to be able to shoot forward. The biggest guns on the thing and they can't shoot forward? Like, come on. Oh, Starjump says they do shoot forward, so yeah, okay.
I would hope they do, and I don't mind like big man turrets on a ship being able to fire pretty much everywhere because you've got to have. You've got to have crew in them to actually use them. You can't actually remote turret them, and that's one of the things I do like.
You see how it's got a better utilization of space as well. Like the other kitchen was just needlessly big. The bedrooms were needlessly big. All this type of shit, and it's just like, it just shows that how needless it was because this does it all just as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. And I don't know about you, but I prefer all being in one room there than all having double beds, which is just stupid.
So one thing I will say.
I'm sorry. Say in the chat. Correct. The turrets do not swing all the way forward. A dev confirmed that on.
Oh, okay, right.
So they fire forward. I'd imagine it's probably something like that.
Yeah. Okay. But that's still stupid. That's bad. That really knocks it down a massive peg in my book. And I mean a massive peg because they're already only shooting down. Now that they can't shoot down and forward but that's just a killer for me. That has really knocked this to a dropship. It is not a gunship. It is a dropship. It is not in the same league as the Perseus. It literally knocks it completely out.
Well,
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah.
That was I think the view I was trying to make before. That they call it a gunship, but it's really geared towards being a dropship.
which makes it even worse because it's a massively, stupidly oversized gunship. Dropship, sorry.
And the only thing I think that benefits it is the fact that you've got...
It's a long-range dropship, but isn't that what the hopper light's for and shit like that? Yeah, man, this has just really dropped it back a lot, just in that little bit of information there. I do like the hanger, though. It's a very nice little hanger. Again, it looks like it's really designed just for the one, though, sadly.
Yep.
It's two, but...
They've got the outline for the little Fury to land. So
yeah, but they did say in the video you could fit two.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell can't they do a tool like this when they sell the ships to us? I guess they want us all to make content or whatever, but yeah. This is what you want in a video. You don't want them just sitting there talking. Have them along the bottom like me and Algared's fatheads are, and just do this yourselves, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Better off to come from the devs than us.
So to talk about the living area on the Max, I really do think that the living area on the Max was just ported over from the build. So, I mean, if you're going to be on a planet building a base, you want reasonable size habs and everything like that. And that's why I think that the Max was really an afterthought. Yeah, so I agree with you there.
Yeah, well, what me and Algared did both kind of say, they should have basically, you know how the two cargo elevators, they should have just made it one giant elevator that went up and down, and just where those bedrooms were, most of those could have just been cargo. That would then give it the reason to have the Max moniker, because it has maximum amount of cargo space. And to be honest, if you shrink that's how I would have fixed it. But I'm not the person at the end of the day that has to make that decision. It doesn't deserve the Max moniker in my book. That's
like we both said it. You know, like you go through the Max, and it feels like there are so many wasted. This feels like there's so much wasted space in corridors on the Max. It's not a Max, it's a base. And not necessarily a very good base. And you can see that it wasn't the first ship they were building. It was a variant of something already built. And we've said that we actually thought the Starlancer was initially built for the build. And everything else
that's what John
variant of that.
That's what John and Ben told us.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, here we go. This is the Asgard, obviously. Last one. Definitely got some nice detail changes there on it. And you can see those landing gear at the front are the same. So that definitely means there's some little changes coming to the Valkyrie as well itself, because they'll have those little changes like the fuel ports and stuff like that.
But like that side shot to me, that right there just screamed that they were starting to work on the Paladin, and this was a byproduct of it.
I think it's the other way around. I think it was this, and then the Paladin was a byproduct.
Okay.
Because again, all those pictures were hand drawn. Why wasn't there a model at all of the Paladin 6 months ago? I do find it interesting how they kept the original wings and then added the two new sets of wings. I thought they would have just taken this and moved it back. That seems superfluous to me, this wing here, but maybe there's something I can't see. Once I get in game, I'll have a look at that. But yeah, two sets of wings. Maybe. It's a little weird. It's definitely wider.
3 sets of wings.
So look at that. That goes straight down. On the other one, that curves in. And this is where most of the landing gear is kept in here. So that's interesting.
You can see they're trying to make it wider.
He's in a darker area again where he's showing the ship off, because you can't see those caution lines. Like I can see it on my screen, but like it's not coming up so much in the video. But yeah, like it's just so much taller.
And I think those thrusters on the back are new. I don't think the Valkyrie has those.
They're in different positions. They've put them all in different positions, but they have to do that because of the weight. It's the same reason why where the engines have been displaced, because they're in the center of mass of the weight, which is where the tank's going to be sitting. That's why they're all moved. Nice little sound effects there too. Algared. This is just for me and Algared's benefit. Look in the wall. So we were speculating that they were going to put the components along the wall, because when we were looking at the Valkyrie last week, and look, there they are right there. So that kind of confirms what we were thinking.
Yeah, and there were places where we said, this is where we think they are. But...
Hindsight 2020.
Yep. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, so again, we'll put that out this weekend, but I think that'll be kind of interesting for you guys because you gotta sit there and go, yeah, well, these guys got this shit wrong and they got that stuff wrong, but they got this stuff right. So it'll be interesting. So just take note when you see it. We recorded it on Monday, Tuesday.
Yep. We recorded it before we saw anything on.
Oh, yeah,
well,
like,
I think we said, we know it's coming, but we don't.
Well,
know
we knew
yet,
it was coming, but there was no photos of it or anything. That all came after. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, there we go. Some component. That's why the seats can't go in. Because the components are now in front of them.
They've shoved over components.
Yeah. But then again, that poses the question, where are the seats in the Valkyrie? Look, where are the components in the Valkyrie? Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So the seats on the Valkyrie are on the inside.
No.
There's not that walkthrough, right?
Yeah, but the seats are in these rooms. This room here, both of them have 10 seats in each room. It has 20 seats in total. And they've cut it back to 1. And that's why I'm so surprised, because again, did you actually get the information on that ballista, the Spartan Algared, how many people it can hold?
Yeah, I told you 8.
So it is 8. I was right.
8,
okay.
Yeah.
So again,
a squad of 8 fully armored.
Yeah, so what I was expecting was they were going to shrink these rooms to be only 8. So instead of being 10 people per room, 4. And no, they shrunk it even more to be literally just 1. And I was so surprised by that, because what happens when you have a Spartan? Where do all the guys sit? Do they just sit in the ship waiting?
Yep.
It's stupid. Like, and again, they had 10 troops, and that you could have 4 cyclones, and the cyclone, I think the max the cyclone could hold was 4. So they actually had more troops than even the cyclones could hold. It just didn't add up. So they've gone from one extreme to the other with having too many seats to now not enough. It's
I think it's a Liberator aspect. You remember when the Liberator came out, people said, where would the people who own the ship sleep?
Yeah.
And the answer was, you go on your ship. You'd rest on your ship.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same type of idea.
And the Valkyrie was designed as a short-range dropship only, so yeah, you're probably right.
This fits again with that being a short-range dropship. You load your vehicle, you've got your crew on. That means, when you land, the vehicle goes off with a crew. It's quick.
Oh, I'm not sure about that, because the only ship that I can think of at the moment, you correct me if I'm wrong, right? But the only ship I know of right now that has medium pads, I'm double checking myself here, is the Kraken. So how do you get a tank up from below, go into the Asgard?
But it's a short range vehicle. It's for planetary stuff. So you're doing it from a planetary base or support area. So
if that's how you want to see it, from a space station, yep, absolutely, I could see that. But also, how do you do it from your own shit where there is no planet? Because if you think about it, that severely lacks what this ship can do. Yeah, because if it's only designed to operate on a space station, well, that means, it's going to be shit in the planet system that's got no space station in it.
Yep. You would need to, you'd need to have it on a larger ship, and I'm not sure we've got a larger ship that can do that at the moment. The pads on a Kraken don't do it. You might be able to do it on an Idris, but would this ship fit in an Idris? Maybe a Javelin.
Yeah. I agree with SA. It's another dropship is essentially, but sadly we're getting 2 dropships, the TAC and the Asgard. And I'm sorry, but that Asgard is the TAC has really dropped back for me, knowing that those turrets can't fire forward. And I would be surprised, correct me if you think I'm wrong, they do not modify that at a future date, because I think that is going to be the biggest complaint about that TAC. Why have guns that's so dumb. Sorry, I'm like a broken record.
And I really like, I've always said, the main guns should be crew controlled, to give a crew something to do. The pilot's already flying the ship and doing his stuff.
Yep.
And you've got that, and yet you've limited the arcs a lot more than would be ideal.
Right, so we're back to 2 beds from 5. The toilet is pretty much exactly the same as it was on the other one. And then, honestly, when me and Algared were talking, we talked about in the Valkyrie video, we were actually suggesting that this is where they could put the components as well, some other area for components. But They've obviously got the little breakfast thing that they have in the other Valkyrie there as well, but then they've just put in weapon racks instead. So
weapon racks and suit lockers, is it on the other side?
Yeah, I believe they're suit lockers, but they are so weird because most suit lockers have doors, and there's no doors. I honestly thought they could be life pods for a little bit as well. They're just really weird. They're like they're suit lockers that don't have the doors on them. Yeah.
It's sleeping quarters for Xi'an.
Maybe.
Because they sleep standing up. There you go.
I've got a fair bit of video here. Where is he doing? Is he? Oh, he's going. He's just going to do
into the pilot seat.
Yeah, he's just doing a camera rotation though. So, yeah.
Hmm.
No, well that's. Yeah, the way that these ships are all coming out on the first day and they're all in the hall, that also tells me I think there's something else coming. Like they've never done that before. They've never just gone, here's everything. They just kind of drip feed it out a bit. Yeah, those two sets of wings are a little weird. It's got 6 wings. Kind of weird.
Yep.
Guns look cool though. Yep, 4 guns. Look across that top thing. That answers what Grim and I were looking at yesterday. Yeah. I don't think there's any mysteries left now. That all came out today, and we talked about that too, Shempasta. So the Idris stuff as well. Like I'm going to be honest with you. I said it to Grim. Like Grim and I have been going back and forth. No, it's the Idris. No, it's the Ironclad. No, it's the Idris. No, it's the Ironclad. And then I literally said to him, I said, why can't it be both? I sent him the taco meme. You know, the little girl says, why not both? Yep. You know, the soft or hard shell taco thing. I just said, why not both?
Why not both?
And it could be both. It really, really could. There's no reason we couldn't get both. They are completely no, I believe the Valkyrie and the Asgard have exactly the same amount of guns. They're just repositioned.
Yep.
Oh god, I got heaps of messages here now. What? Yeah, I've actually seen a thing similar to this, Algared, believe it or not. And I will share this. So this is someone's. It's what someone sent to Algared. This is the Flappy Bird.
Yep.
And they've kind of positioned it like this. I've even seen someone suggest that it rotates forward like a slave. You know, the slave one. They wanted to make the slave one, and so it rotates forward and then flies like that. So, yeah.
And again, I've always argued that if it's rotating, it's not Drake. It's more that fits more with a MS type ship rather than Drake ship. And that's could it still be Drake? Yep. Could it be anything else? Yep. Imperial shuttle, yes, that's one of the things we've kind of thought of as well.
Where the hell was the Flappy Bird? I opened it at one point. I was trying going back to find it. Right. So again, that whole thing that we thought was a cockpit, what if that is literally just a viewing window?
Yep.
It's not a cockpit. So it just means when you landed, you've got a window to look out, and when you're vertical, you can see down to the ground.
Yep.
What if this part up here is actually the cockpit? And boom, it just totally changes the whole perspective of the ship.
Yep.
It could very well be, and I think that's what he's trying to imply in this.
Yep.
Yeah, I could totally see it. And it feels like a Star Wars ship, does it not, when you do that?
That is from Santo Bell. Santo Bell.
Yep. Credit is due.
Is actually really good at doing ships. He's been doing a ship that he's just been building for fun, which would have been the for Star Citizen-esque. He called it a frigate. I actually think it's a heavy destroyer at best. It's not a ship I could see CIG doing, because it basically, he built it form over function, no function over form, and it just looks. And if I could remember the name he called it, it was the RSI. Yeah, I can't remember the name, but Santo Bell does excellent work, and he's an Aussie, which is even better, in my opinion.
Okay, so there's a couple of other videos here I've just found, so we're going to go through some of these. Yep. So this is can I open them? Yes, I can't open them. Sweet. So this is the Starlancer TAC turrets. No, this is Asgard. What am I talking about? It was labeled as TAC, but all right, here we go.
Oh, I wonder where that is.
That's the bottom turret underneath it. So you can see spawned it in the old thingy level.
Yep.
Pretty much on par with the same turret as that's already in the Valkyrie. So there's nothing really new there, but I just thought that was interesting to look at. Then we've got, let's have a look here. What do we got? Starlancer man turret. So this, that's why I've read the wrong one. I'm an idiot. My fault. Pause that one, play that one.
These are the side turrets on
the TAC. Oh, I like that. The little arm. That's really cool. Yeah. Very nice. I like that. All right, so it can't quite shoot backwards.
It's about a 180.
Yeah,
side or.
Yeah, that's going to be received like a lead balloon. Yeah, no. That is that. Remember all the shit we gave about the cores there, and they fixed it. We just need to meme this into existence. I think.
I could see a value in this in terms of, it's because they're the heaviest turrets on the ship. The heaviest guns.
It's clearly designed to be ground-based, Algared, but like you can see him aiming here, and it can't physically turn. Like if you look at where he looks back the other way, though, right? So just give me a second. He does it here, and you can clearly see where it. Oh yeah, it can turn backwards totally fine, right? But as soon as you go forward, it can't. In fact, I'd almost argue it can rotate further backwards. They're going to turn forward because when he's in that third person, hang on, does it go into that? See there, it almost looks like it can go forward. See, there's nothing restricting unless it's this gun batting into its own body. But if that's the case, just make it come out like a little bit more so it can rotate forward. And that's not hard to fix because it's just the only part you have to redo is the arm. Just make the arm come out a little bit more. And again, if you just make it telescopic inside the ship, it's all fixable. I just think, like, again, the only thing I can think of is it's a gameplay thing that they've deliberately done. And if that's the case, it just kills the ship for me completely.
When you look at the the gunner's view, you can see that yes, it could move forward, but it's being blocked by the ship. And yes, you could fix that.
I guess we'll have to look when we finally get our own hands on it. But when I look here, that looks like to me that see how it looks like that gun's going to touch the edge there.
Yep. Well, when you look at the interior view, when you saw when he was inside the turret looking, you moved the gun, and it was, the one gun was actually pointing to the inside.
See what I mean? There's still clear. It could easily aim forward. Is my point.
Well, that's back.
No, that's the front. Because after the 3D view, he then looks. So watch this. After the 3D view, see he's looking forward, and then he now rotates and looks to the back. So that is the forward view.
And see, all right, and see the back. The guns are actually facing in the turret, so you can move the guns forward and fix that. But I think part of it is also because they're the heaviest guns on the ship. It's actually forcing you to work with your pilot to get on arc.
Yeah, but it's the same problem. Is because then the guy on the other side can't shoot what you're looking at.
Yep.
See what I mean? Yep. Well, again, I'd put this off to someone like SA. If you can jump into Discord, please do so, because I'd love to. You can essentially break the stalemate. Replace this.
I think it's a stalemate.
No.
Decision they've made.
I'd like to hear his opinion. So SA, jump in the Discord if you can, man. Let me, if you see him, just drag him up for me, please. If you see him, just jump into any channel. So quickly give us your thoughts.
I don't like it, but I could understand why they're doing it, is what I'm saying. I can see they're trying to do that, force you to work with your crew rather than just be able to point the guns forward and just fire where you want.
And that's exactly what I kind of said was, like, unless it's something gameplay related. Like, that's the only thing I can think of them.
And that's the only and I'm thinking the same thing. It's the only reason I can see for doing it, but like you, I'm not overly a fan of it. It's not like a hurricane.
I have to show this, and only because I am salviating just ever so slightly. Oh my god! I like that a lot. He's actually got all of them here. So he's got like even this one looks cool though. This is actually, believe it or not, more my color scheme. The whole black with a little bit of red is my thing. So yeah, man, I like both of those a lot. These are like dark TIE fighters. I like them a lot.
I like the engines on this thing. They're very Xi'an.
Yeah. There's Pete's favorite one, the lime get in my drink, whatever he wants to call it. And then there's I'll just show some other ones here. So this is the default, I believe that's the default. I've been mistaken. And then then there's a blue one. So we'll have a quick look at that one. And then I might as well show the last one because we're down to the last one now. Which is the kind of greeny army one, I guess. Yeah. Right. I like those two. I like especially that one. That's very much like a dark TIE fighter, isn't it? Yeah, but yeah. Actually not Darth Vader so much, but that other guy, the guy with the dark saber. Oh, that actor. You know, the guy that was phenomenal. That special ship. He was in The Mandalorian. The guy in The Mandalorian with the darksaber. Someone will bloody mention me in chat in 5 minutes once it gets
Now,
through.
I like green, but I didn't like those greens, so
yeah. A bit banana-y. You're in. All right, hang on. I'll drag him up. Where is he? Where is he? Oh, he's there. Need to give him a roll. He's got a roll. He should have been able to jump in. There you go. How you doing, SO?
I'm doing all right. Just wrangling children. What's up?
No, just give us your thoughts on those TAC turrets, because that really changes it for me. I don't know about you, but it really changes it for me.
Like it was garbage before.
Yes, but it makes
what I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So I thought it was not that great. Then from a gameplay perspective, I like the layout of the ship and stuff like that, but I just think didn't like it was like a cheap man's Polaris, cheap man's Perseus. Now that those guns don't shoot forward, I think it just I mean, well, your thoughts. Sorry.
It becomes the the old phrase, it's the jack of all trades, master of none. I mean, this is the jack of almost no trades and master of none. Like it just can't really do anything. It's too much stuff. It's not focused. It needs to be something. And you can't be a drop ship and like have large turrets that really can't face forward for attack runs, and a small hangar with a little tiny stump fighter that really can't do any damage. It doesn't really do anything. I mean, it doesn't have a place, and it's kind of a shame because it's a beautiful ship. We talked about this with the Max. It's a beautiful ship. It just doesn't have a place.
Yeah, well, it's kind of along those lines of what I was saying. You correct me if you think I'm wrong what I'm about to say here, but as more and more ships come in, they're treading on each other. But I think this is just not well designed. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like they made the build and went, let's make some variants, and they didn't think it through.
They made that. They clearly made the top section where the beds are at, in the other versions with an intent of like swapping that out. I think the design intent was really good. I think a mining or refining vessel would have been far better with like the TAC makes no sense. A little tiny bay for a couple of Atlas, Geo suits to pop out of the top, or I don't know, man. I mean, you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I know where you're going. Well, it's the same thing.
It's more an industrial ship.
Well, it's the problem with the TAC in general. This should have been a Mirai ship. They made Mirai to be there, which is essentially racing and combat, right? That's what it really breaks down to. This should have been a Mirai variant, not a MISC variant. And yes, there are some other MISC combat ships, blah blah blah. But realistically speaking, that's why they made Mirai. Things like the Misery should have moved over to Mirai. The Gemini should have become Mirai. Things like that, where they went, all right, so these are all moving under the Mirai brand, and and essentially things like that. Because again, that I know Mirai is meant to be, what they call it, performance and something, Algared, but generally, if you look at the ships that have come out under the Mirai brand so far, they're all combat or racing. That's it.
Mm-hmm. The thing I'm disappointed with this chassis is like it's a beautiful chassis. It's designed for team play. Yeah. This is probably the best like team play designed MISC ship they've made.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the freaking Starfarer. It's horrible.
Yep.
But when it comes down to like what it does, it should have been an industrial primary frame, and it's not. And it hurts it. Like, I mean, this could have been an amazing refining ship. Like, and me, like I love the alternate gameplay.
Yeah.
But combat is still like in my genes, and like the TAC makes no sense. Like I put in the chat over and over again.
Yeah.
Get rid of the 2 size 5 turrets, make it into a Spectre, and put a gigantic size 7 that shoots down at the ground. And then okay, I'm interested, but why drop seats? Like why are you giving
makes
up
it a
cargo for
little
that?
makes it a little bit like an AC-30 with what you were saying.
Exactly. AC 130. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
100%. They could have made that an AC 130, or when you look at the general things that you look for in a frame that big, it's a lot of empty space, and I appreciate that. The double beds are amazing. Who doesn't love to have like space to sleep? In a game, like why?
You don't see your cos. Yeah, exactly. I think you would agree with him, Algared, based on Miss being kind of more of the utility manufacturer. I agree with him. It would have been far better to see these as utility ships rather than
or more industry ship.
Yeah, not a drop ship that's trying to do a gunship.
It could have been a drop ship. I mean, they could have massaged it to be this kind of alternative, militia drop ship, and they could have done it. But they tried to jam stuff into an airframe that doesn't make sense.
Do you know what I was just thinking, how they made the build to build buildings and stuff, right? What if they'd actually lent into that drone idea and just expanded this off the build and made it a drone attack ship? So where the hangar is, all the drones could have come out.
I mean, I like that I like that idea and concept, but they're so
it wouldn't be ready for a couple of years.
About drones.
Yeah, I know.
To pick up something that you'll remember John and Ben were talking about, when we suggested the Furies being
the turrets,
on the turrets. Both side turrets, though, they really do look like that's where the Furies would have gone.
Well, again, you could have.
Do you think it was that they tried to do it and it didn't work, and they did slap turrets in that position instead?
Well, they definitely look a lot smaller, don't they? But I also just where the turrets are positioned, like I just seem ridiculous. Like again, it's the same problem the Corsair had. Like when that came out, we complained to no end about how those turrets couldn't shoot forward.
Right.
But you just look at the way you enter. Sorry, just the way you look at the way you enter those turrets. That little tunnel. That would have been perfect access for entering a Fury.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I can almost see that they. To me, it feels like they tried to do it. And remember, Ben said we tried; it just didn't work.
They said it wasn't big enough. Well, maybe that's the same problem.
I have a feeling that's the problem. They tried the Furies, it didn't work, so they said, let's just put turrets in, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, you were going to say SA?
Sorry, you were going to ask SA?
Yeah, no, I had a question for you, Algared. So I know you're not a combat guy, but like imagine, so to me, the Fury was always almost like a Titan II platform. It's a small little thing. You put mining lasers on it, one, you put salvage on the other, and then you have these like little tiny, snub ships that can do the things that we all want to do in the verse. What if there was, instead of having the 2 turrets in front, it had the same gangway as the storage area, but on each side, 3 slots for Furies to load up. So you go on the gangway, there's like a little thing, you load up in your Fury, and then you drop.
For a Starfarer?
It means like a Fury dropship, essentially.
Yeah.
So you know how you've got the cargo,
like a little Fury carrier.
You know how you got the cargo bay that comes down on the Max, right? So instead of that, he's just saying you pack in 2 or 3 either side Furies, and it's like a gangplank. You walk along, get in your Fury, and then deploy. That would have been mad.
And that's exactly what was, that was one of the first suggestions I made for the Starfarer, being a Fury carrier. Take out the pods, walk along the gangplank, get in your Furies and launch.
There's your variant, and you still have the hangar on top that you can cycle them back through and repair them.
Repairs.
That's what piss the turrets off. Do that. That's amazing.
Turn it into a hive carrier. Now that would have been great.
Yeah, the drops mean nothing.
That turns your Starfarer into it.
I can guarantee you, if anyone at CIG's there looking right now, retract this shit and do that. I guarantee if you put up a poll, because this is the thing, like if you have it like, oh shit, we've sold it now, too bad. I guarantee if you did a poll, most people would say turn it into something like that. I think they're worried about so much legal blowback. They're like, but only one person's going to sue us. That's why they're like, oh, it's too bad we've sold it now. So they'd have to make another variant to do that. But man, I tell you, if you made that variant, I'd buy one.
A pocket carrier is what everyone's always cried for.
Yeah.
I mean, a pure pocket carrier because it's all snubs. I mean, we're not talking about like, you know, the ability to quantum or jump, and we're talking like, hey, man, we all go together, we don't go at all.
Yeah.
Well,
and
one of the things,
and it is just a variant if you look at it, because you're essentially taking off the turret. You're taking, you could take out the medical bay as well, and put in like a small component repair area. So you've got the hangar up the top, and then you've got a repair area downstairs. So it allows you to repair the components of the Furies and kind of like put them in back in where they go. See what I'm saying? And or you could just remove the repair area completely if you had to. So you could just have all. Such a better idea. I really like that idea.
I would much rather just see them do that with a Starfarer.
I agree, 100%.
You know.
We've talked about this a long time ago about the Starfarer. The Starfarer is an underutilized platform.
So SA, when we do the buyer's guide on Miss Day, you're gonna have to be available. I
will try. It's a little chaotic. My wife. So for those watching, my wife just had ACL surgery. So my job is to suck it up and do everything. So speaking of which, I got to get back to dinner, gents. But
when she rings the bell, you've got to go. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Mate.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, bud. Right, we need to get back to questions because we are vastly running out of time.
Well, we've got 30 minutes. 2.5 hours, no questions. So yeah.
Fifth ball poop, we answered your question. That's done, and I've ticked it. Okay, Nova had. I haven't been following Star Citizen for a while. I'm now just getting back in. Glad to see you back. Any movement on Drake Ironclad since Aerospace Intergalactic Expo 2945 or 2954?
Yeah, I think the short answer is much like the Idris. It could possibly come, but we've got nothing that points either way to. I'd say there's probably more evidence right now for the Idris than there is over the Ironclad.
Yep, but we've got enough rep to hang ourselves. So
as always,
Star Gideon,
like
Stax Gideon says, go expecting nothing and be surprised when you get something.
Yeah, that's it.
Stax Gideon, with ISC showing the Asgard in the main hall, what do you think will be the area between the tanks in the ground vehicles hall?
Again, just the last bit.
So in the ground vehicle, you've got the two tanks.
Oh, that's that'll be just one of these. One of the it'll just be another one of them, wouldn't it? Another
Well, that was our view, but so we were expecting the Asgard, or
well, it could also just be it could also be a Graycat, one of the Graycats, because that's technically a ground vehicle.
So where we thought the Asgard was going clearly isn't anymore because it's in the main hall. But
or it could be in both.
It could be both. So we're still not sure. We're clutching at straws and guessing.
Yeah, or it could be something completely new, but I doubt that.
Your view at this point is just as valid as ours.
Apparently there's a floor map out, and people are saying in chat that it's another Asgard, so that answers that question. We did assume it was an Asgard in our video.
That's right. Socially Confused says, how useful do you think the new Graycat is?
About this much.
Yep. If it can access command control, then it becomes slightly more useful.
Yeah, I don't think
if it's just a single man personal transport then I'm not sure it's that useful. But might be good for.
I've got to show this. I know you want to get into the questions, but look at some of these, man. These look amazing. So these are the Asgard skins. There's a bunch of them here. I'm just going to try and pick 2 or 3 of them. Is the copper top looking one, and then I'll probably show this one. This is probably the last good one. There's another 2, but I think
that looks nice too.
Yeah, they're very nice.
I like the copper top, but I like that one as well.
Oh god, man, damn it! I'll just show all of them. Here we go. So here's the.
Yeah, that's your favorite, I swear.
No, but they went orange. It's really weird. Orange really is off-putting to me. I don't know why. I just don't like orange. And then I think this one, I don't know. Which one do you reckon is the default, Algared? And then obviously he didn't do the white one for some reason. I think because he already did the one.
The white one's a default.
There's some interesting. There is some. He literally went through and did all the Starlancer TAC skins with all the skins that are already out, but there's no. That's that. I think that's everything. I don't think there's anything else to kind of show. Oh, there is a skin for the Aegis Vanguard. Have a look at this. This feels like a troll. Have a look at this. but that looks like it suits the armor. You know, the armor we saw in the video.
Yep.
Maybe there's like some kind of tiger pack coming out, and you buy it, and you get a skin for the Vanguard and all that. So yeah. Right.
So, To the Ninja says in chat, the MTC will probably be one of the most useful ground vehicles when they remove sitting in seats with armor and stuff. So yeah. So when they remove the fact that you can't wear your armor in seats, that will be very useful for a single person. Absolutely.
That said, things like the Spartan, they're bigger seats.
Yeah.
So you can sit in them with heavy armor. You can have special seats for heavy armor.
It certainly ties up.
Oh
yeah, it's that whole yin and yang.
Is that a raid? Did Expat just turn up? No, that's just Pete spamming heaps of bullshit, right?
Yeah, typical.
Nice to see Expat. Hope you're doing well. You can come in and vent if you want. You're welcome to join us.
Yep.
Just drop in a voice chat.
We'll
drag you up. If you want to come join us, just keep an eye out if you can. Algared in the voice chats below if she pops in.
Red Samurai says, "Are you happy with the MTC Armory, or would you have liked to see it as a command center type?" I'd like to see it as a command center type because that kind of fits with the MTC name. But as we were just saying, it's not a bad thing.
It reminds me. You ever seen? This is going to be a really niche scene, and I don't know if everyone will know what I'm talking about here. But do you remember in Independence Day how they go to Houston and they try to nuke it? Right, they try to nuke the mothership, and then there's that guy looking through the thing, and he's getting all sweaty. That little vehicle is what this reminds me of. You know, so like a little observation platform,
command vehicle.
Yeah, like that. So like a tactical, and if that's all it is, I could totally see that. But also, missile variant that fires the missiles, and the same eyepiece, though it's used to laser designate not just its own missiles.
Missiles for other things.
A1, A2, and all that type of thing. Yeah, like a little periscope, but it doesn't need to be a periscope because you can just use a remote camera. But like I could totally see that like down the line, that would be the other variant, the MTX. So it can fire missiles, but also laser target for other people as well.
Yep. So MTC Mobile Tactical Center, isn't it?
Right, mobile tactical center. Yes, you're correct. Sorry.
So that would make sense for it to do that role. So yeah,
that's probably true. Actually, Expat just brings up a good point. Might be the smallest sealed vehicle we have. Is technically correct. It would be the smallest sealed vehicle we have. Cyclone's open, STV's open, PTV is open, UTV is open. That is a really good point. It's the only one that you'll be able to take into an atmosphere. And it was the benefit of the Ursa and the G12.
So
that's true. It does have a place. Then that's its real benefit, that it's an enclosed cab. Good pick up there, Expat. Good job. Thank you.
I'm again going to reiterate, Expat. Come and join us. Come and chat. You know we love to chat to you.
She's probably cooked. She's not in the voice chat.
Probably is.
She's not coming. She's not coming. Fine.
I'm so shattered. I'm brokenhearted. Socially confused. Did you see the video leaks of the new ships? Yes. Monster Aviary, do you think the weapon stuff will be returned to Buck style upgrades or just turret stuff like Heatseeker?
Apparently Pete's getting really annoyed that we're not reading his messages. Oh, boo freaking here. Right. Sorry, you answered the question because I was not listening.
Yeah, look, Buck style upgrades, I think they ditched those. They've certainly gone by the board.
Oh, Buck upgrades. So, they got rid of those because why would you want to sell a Buck to someone when you can sell them potentially a whole nother copy of the ship? That's why. It's all about money. Why would I want to sell you something that's, because the most expensive one was $30? Why would I want to give you access to a second ship for $30 when I can sell you a whole nother ship for $260 or whatever they are? You know, that's why it's been done.
So money. I think based on that, we'll just see turret stuff upgrades like the Heartseeker.
Yeah, or just wait till it's in game and buy it in game. I think they don't realize how much they've shot themselves in the foot. Upgrades like the Bucks would have been really a beneficiary to buy a ship, right? But they've obviously looked at it and gone, well, you've got variants and you've got like upgrade your modular ship. Well, that means all people ever buy is the modular ship. So they're trying to take away the reason to buy those modular ones because they want you to buy the variants as well. And it just makes the modular ones so much better value if you can buy the upgrades. Yeah.
Socially confused, you don't need to worry about asking questions. We always try to answer every question, and if you've got a question, it's great.
We are definitely not going to get through all
we won't get through them because we've done so much.
Unless you just want to keep going until we get them done.
I'll go until I'm tired and can't do any more.
All right, let's do that then. So we might do a 4-hour stream today. How's that sound?
If we can cope. But yeah, so ask questions. We'll answer every question, and then chances are, if you're asking a question in a class of 30, there's a chance that if one student asks the questions, 5 or 6 have got the same question. So don't worry about it.
Mr. Algared, Mr. Algared, can I have a question?
What's your question, Dickie Knee?
Why are you so ugly? I do sound a bit like Dickie Knee. You got me there, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine me in Algared's classroom?
And you've got the hat like Dickie Knee as well, so
I don't have the hair though. He had the big.
And he always got the slap down. There you go.
Especially from Wally Meldrum.
Dickie Knee was a character from a
like
variety
puppet
show.
Yeah, we've shown
he
him
was
before.
A puppet who always popped up on the talk show and spoke like that and
tormented the shit out of people. Yeah,
annoyingly ripping the shit out of people. So
can you imagine me in Algared's classroom though? It'd be like, hey, go to the principal's office. I'd be gone. Yeah. All right.
Get out now.
I just turned up and he wouldn't even let me in. No, get the hell out.
No, go. Leave.
Yeah.
With Wicklow offering a custom combat atlas in 4.11, the one in his showroom as mission reward, what would you like to see the Kit Bash variant of? What would you like to see a Kit Bash variant of?
Just real quick, who was the dickhead who asked that question?
That was you know who it was.
What do you want?
The one who's to blame for everything.
Yeah.
He who should be blamed for everything.
Yeah. What would you like to see as a Kit Bash variant of? Ooh, that's a really good question. Oh yeah, I want to see one of the TAC. So it's a Fury carrier. No, seriously, like once I heard that theory, it's such a good idea. Such a good idea. It makes the ship unique. There's nothing else like it. The turrets don't work on it. Like just. Yes, I know it's food time, buddy. We're going to be late today.
Maybe a Kit Bash variant of an Aurora.
Yes, the starter ships.
So it's all the small ships, or even the P-52, P-72, the MPVUs, those types of those small snub ships. So anything like that.
It'd be almost good to see Wicklow bring in one of the smaller shop ships. Like you and I have talked about this heaps. But like we need, like what did we work out, Algared? There's potential to be at least another 6, something like that. It was like close to another 6 shop ships. Something like that, because again, once you realize the different tech levels and stuff like that, so if you have a high-end restaurant, like an Origin style restaurant, you're not going to get that in a Drake shop ship. But by the same token, you're not going to get the taco truck inside an Origin ship. You know what I mean? Like they just won't want you to do that. High-end fashion. And again, this tech thing that we keep talking about is a thing because there are ships that have, you can literally see it in the files. They say low tech, medium tech, high tech. So once you kind of realize that through and you start to apply that to certain ship metrics, shops are clearly one of them. You'd even see it in other ones as well. Shops. What was the other one? It was a base building because you'd have utility and stuff like that. I can't remember which one it was. There was one we went through.
Well, we looked at in terms of just hydraulics versus energy in terms of how the ships work. So you see that high tech, low tech, medium tech coming through all the ships all the time.
Yeah.
So Spicy SCO7, I don't think we can answer your question because the question is, what do we think the March 28 weekly newsletter sneak peek is?
Oh, that's he sent me a photo.
Okay.
It's taken us that long to get to it though. I will have to go back and find it. He did send me a photo.
You find that.
Give me a second.
Citizen Ninja had a question, so while you're finding it, we'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
And Citizen Ninja's question was, will the Asgard never have a cargo grid to keep the Valkyrie relevant? Oh, sorry, will the Asgard never have a cargo grid to keep the Valkyrie irrelevant? Valk's extra jump seats by themselves are not enough to keep its use by
Can you
players.
imagine how much that's going to piss Valkyrie owners off? Oh, yeah, by the way, you get 90 cargo now. Oh, by the way, the Valkyries, the Asgard's got 120.
Because it's got big vehicles. I could see CIG trying to do that, but I think there'd be as much blowback from the people who buy the Asgard.
I think they're, or I don't
exactly.
I think it's unavoidable. I think they are going to get blowback. I think the only way to do that is make it more expensive, and then basically offer an upgrade to like an upgrade to it, even if it's only a temporary one. And if you have like a Legionnaire, they offer an upgrade directly from the Legionnaire to the Legionnaire to the Asgard Legionnaire or whatever you want to call it, because that's the only way you're going to appease those people.
And I think if they do the same argument that they had with the Legionnaire with its little vehicles, didn't have cargo grid originally. I eventually put it in because everyone should say this is nuts. I think the Asgard will be in the same boat. They may not give it initially, but I think
that actually works though, Algared, because if you only offer an upgrade from the Anvil Valkyrie Legionnaire to the Anvil Asgard Legionnaire, and don't have it go from the normal Valkyrie, that way you can retain that orange skin. That's actually how I would do it. That's actually really easy fix then.
In answer to the question, people are saying in chat that the Asgard already has 180 SCU as listed on SC Viewer and Urkel. So,
wow, 180 Algared, that's double.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way that's not going up in price. I'm sorry, but like that.
Yeah, so that changes our view on the price. It's going to be expensive as hell.
Which would 400 easily. It's easily got to be at least 400, if not more.
Yep. Because the base was 375, so it's got to be at least 400, and that's do you know if it's still possible? This would be a grim question. Do you know if it's still possible to make a JSON file from the hangar for fleet throw of use? I have been not able to do so. I can't remember which ships I have anymore.
Sorry, SA, can you just say, SA, what you mean in context? SA's calling me a dreamer. I don't get the context. Right, anyway.
Yep. Pissball Pete, you reckon the MX is going to be stealth-focused aka Firebird or just an upgunned, upsized Fury MX?
I think we've kind of answered that now. It's just a 4-gun instead of 2 size 5s, basically.
That's looks like a big Fury. It's more or less what we were saying before.
With some missiles,
Yep. Exo Wolf F07 says, on the new Graycat 4 command center, do you think the top opens to deploy sensors or radar for battle or field awareness?
I don't think, from what we saw of the walkthrough, there's no room to do that. So I'd almost imagine if you were to put the missile variant in, it wouldn't have the second seat and you'd lose a lot of that back area. And it would just become a one-person craft if you were to make a variant.
If MTC is mobile tactical center, then you don't need it. If it's a mobile control center, then I could see part of that area being removed and sensors being put in, a bit like. So I could see that as a variant, but yeah.
What would you say MTX stands for?
Missile.
Yeah. Missile, tactical... X-ray?
Mobile,
Mobile thermal X-ray. I got no idea.
Yeah, mobile thermonuclear missile system. I don't know.
We'll have to work it out.
The glass sword, with so many features, events, weapons, ships, bomb racks, modular turrets for ground, etc. Do you feel the same as I do that they're giving us more wrecking balls for base building? Yes.
Yeah.
Because base building is the opposite of repair. While base building and repair go together, we destroy it, we salvage it, we build, we repair it. So, yeah. John Chavez, while I'm worried the Asgard invalidates the Herc M2, is there any chance the Liberator will get changed to be less for ground and more for fighters?
So what I think we've talked about this before, haven't we, Algared? We essentially kind of featured 3 variants of ground deployment vehicles. The Assault is the ground one, because the Ironclad Assault has the 6 tanks. You've got the Liberator that seems to be in between the two, where it's doing ships and vehicles. And then essentially you could do another variant of the Liberator or a whole new another ship, and it's just all ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's another one that relates to the Asgard. Question: the 600i rework will be able to carry a Tonk. So would 600i owners want an Asgard?
That's like saying, I have a key ring, do I need a key? I don't.
Well,
that's actually even better than what he. I don't get that. Why would you need one? Wouldn't you just transport it with the 600i?
I have a luxury car. Do I want to downgrade to a Holden?
That's another way to look at it. Yeah.
Earn
it in game.
It depends what you want.
You don't need to buy multiple ships, guys. We've kind of said this before. The whole fix my fleet thing, the whole trying to teach people thing is prevention rather than cure, right? And then the fix my fleet is the cure. If you've already gone too far down the line, how do we kind of fix it and make it better? If you've just got into the game, just get a starter pack. If you want to go in, get one ship that you really like, and then if you want to go really, just get one big one. Don't get multiples. Like, don't do what we did. Don't make the same mistakes we did. And the more time goes on, it becomes evidently clear that you're going to have all these ships that are just going to be sitting there doing nothing a lot of the time. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but again, when you're trying to give financial advice, we have to. How many times have we said this, Algared? We don't follow our own rules, but the rules are there because they're generalized. How do you give advice to thousands? Where are you muted, bro? Where you muted, mate?
Sorry, I was muted because the lawnmower was just outside.
Yep.
So as we've said all the time, fix my fleet, and just as you said, fix my fleet is for people who say, crap, I've spent lots of money. I want to get this, but I don't think I can afford it. And we go, okay, well, what are you interested in? Let's have a look at your fleet. Let's cut the fat where areas you don't like and turn that into what you do want. But question for you, Spicy says, have you found the picture yet?
Yes. Oh, I did. For his question, yeah, I did. It's here. So what was Spicy's question again?
Got to find it again. So Spicy's question was, I've got to find where. Do you know what the March 28 weekly newsletter sneak peek was of?
Well, I just assumed that this was the Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not.
Yep, not sure. It's up the right way at least. But
true.
That's one thing in its favour. But what is it of?
You got no size or
vehicle.
Yeah, you got no size or perspective. Really hard to tell. At the time, we all kind of went, "Oh yeah, it's probably the Guardian." But
your guess is as good as ours.
Yeah, it could be anything at this point. Every single one of those sneak peeks are annoying as hell. They are very rarely clear cut anymore. They are. Like, even if I go to last week's, the one with the missile rack.
Yep.
Where the hell is that from? I haven't seen that on any of the new vehicles. So are we getting 2 new ships? Who knows?
Well, you look at that. You look at that video that came out. The ships. The mission one, which looked at the new ships that were coming for Invictus. At the end, Disco says we'll be showing more ships that are coming next week. The other ships that are coming next week. So there's more stuff coming, but we haven't heard yet. So, Hook. Does the Liberator have Hook 2005 says, does the Liberator have additional beds or only seats for extra pilot that it carries? I believe the Liberator only had.
I clicked the wrong button.
The 2 beds. And the seats down the bottom, or am I missing the ship? Or am I
Oh,
getting
say
my
that
ships
again.
mixed up?
What was it? What'd you say?
Does the Liberator have additional beds only, or only seats for extra pilots it carries?
God, I'm gonna have to remember that one. But I remember we went and looked into this on a stream a long time ago.
I thought it only had the crew beds, not beds for, but only had seats for the extra.
That's how I
was carrying.
That's how I remember it as well. But I remember that we went into detail and I can't remember what we found. Oh God, this new website is going to be the death of me, man.
Yep. And I do believe when they talked about it in the Q&A, there was a video or something where CIG basically said you'd sleep in your, the crew of ships would just stay in their ship.
It's just really annoying. Like I can't actually find the old websites because they've deleted them. There's a downside. Yeah, I can't actually find the old Concept Sale website. It's just deleted from history.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the old one, you could scroll down those schematics, but I can't do that because they've deleted them. So that sucks.
Doc Wiley, if you are still there, can you give context to your question? Your question was, does it have a working cargo grid? Which ship are you referring to?
He's talking about the Asgard.
Okay.
That'll be most likely what he's talking about.
And if you are related to the Asgard, according to facts that says it has 180 SC of cargo, then it would be a yes. Social confused. They go in order of questions. Oh, that was the answer to someone else. Yes. Do you think CIG would ever consider lowering the price of a Valkyrie and give store credit to current owners? It'd be nice if they did, but I don't see it because they'd be afraid of people complaining and having a hissy fit.
Hey,
Shen.
This is in the wrong place. Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
Yep, Shen happens. When do you see the Nova tank? When did you see the Nova tank will have a ballistic cannon now too? Yes, we did.
Yes, we played a video on that.
Hello, Star Citizen, or Hello SC says, can I post a video link of the leaks to the ships that was released today?
We've already looked at them.
We've already looked at them, but thank you for asking. Sorry we took so long to get to your question.
Yeah, we got spammed by so many people. Like I got, thank you. Someone sent the thing on the Liberator. Hang on. Someone else found it. Woohoo! Thank you, Flame. I've got thing on, Flame. You know who you are. God, I can't remember.
Yep.
I can't see a name.
It makes it hard to see our names on Discord because
it turns on streamer mode and it hides a bunch of stuff. But Flame, can I actually? Nope, it even does it in your profile. It's Flame someone.
Flame Boo.
Yeah, that'll be him. Flame Boo. So this is the one, and you can see the bedrooms and suit lockers all over there. I'm gonna see if I can enhance. Nope. And then, so you can kind of see, what was it? Storage lockers, landing pad access, suit lockers. I swear there was there's a living, but it's only on one side.
I just thought a living was only on the one side. I thought it was on the crew side.
Yeah, and
the other side just had the jump seats from memory.
And that's in this second image. That's why I'm going through it. I'm just going through it with the fine tooth comb so we can find it. So yeah, here you go. So you've got the storage locker, slim bed, man bed, life support. I cannot see the bed. Where?
In the middle.
Where?
2 beds next to the food dispenser and the bathroom.
Oh, it is that. Yeah, okay, my bed. Yeah, they're the 2 beds. So yeah, there's no beds on that side over there. It's just got that
So on the other side, you've got the armor and jumpsuit room, and that was basically it.
Yeah.
And I can remember at the time someone saying, I thought it was CIG saying, people who are, crews of the ships or pilots of ships would sleep in their beds on their ship.
Well, you can pretty much envision this door being like pretty much locked all the time. So they're contained to their side of the ship and they can't get in and stuff with anything. It even looks like the crew don't come down too often. Like that's a giant lift.
Mm.
It's
the only reason you go down that section is for your engineering and maintenance and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a bigger ship than it kind of appears on the outside. Like it's got multiple decks and stuff like that. But yeah, suit lockers and stuff. Like it's got some nice facilities over here. Bathrooms. There's 2 bathrooms.
Nice tables, I consider. So,
yeah, but no beds and stuff. So you can get food and stuff like that. And you can go to the toilet, but it's comfort. It's not it's not someone
it's not living space. It's
and
airline comfort.
And also, you correct me if I'm wrong here, Algared, and I could be wrong. But I think they might be the biggest seats for Heather Army too, but I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong there, because it does say armory. It does say armory and jump room.
Although the fact that there's so many, like you look, there's 8 suit lockers, there's 16 suit lockers
you could take
in the ship.
off.
So
but there's only there's 8 suit lockers and 8 storage lockers, but there's look at the seats there.
Yes.
There's 16 seats.
Sorry, I misread that.
So I guess not everyone's going to have heavy armor. But yeah, I don't know. I have to wait and see. But yeah, it's definitely. I don't think you need beds. Why would you want? Why would you want?
Can you scroll it down a little bit? Bobby? Oh no, up. Sorry. So you got 8 suit lockers and 6 suit lockers. So you've actually got 14.
Oh, you got 4 upstairs. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, you've got 14 suit lockers. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And 12 storage lockers. So there's quite a bit of storage space in there, and you've got the 3 little tables where people could sit and do stuff. So yeah, it's a nice little ship, but
it sounds little. It sounds quite big.
Okay.
But, yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
D14 Lone Star says, will weapon hardpoints one day be interchangeable with other things like tractor beams? I don't think so. Like back in the day, they were.
Yeah, but
back in the day, they talked about having a Hornet and being able to put mining lasers and stuff on it.
I think this is all before they had utility mounts and stuff like that too. Everything's become a lot more bespoke as time's gone on. Like I would, well, you tell me what you think here, but like, how you have the 2 utility mounts on the Terrapin. I do think that you're not going to be able to just put a tractor beam on one of those utility mounts. I just don't see it happening. I think it would be like scanner specific now, and just different scanners.
I've probably gone down that line, but for the variants, you might be able to do that. But yeah, they certainly back in the day, it was any mount could do anything. So you could have a Hornet with mining lasers or repair lasers or stuff like that. Then it became weapon mounts and utility mounts. And I think even back in the day, you could have put missile pods on weapon pods as mounts as well. Depending, but that has changed. Now you got mounts specifically for missile, mounts specifically for weapon, mounts specifically for utility stuff. And I think as time goes on, we'll see, as you were alluding, the utility mounts will actually break down into different things as well.
Well, we've had more come, not less. So we know emitters are coming. We've now got, the AI blades have been around since the Gladiator. But we're now seeing more and more customization come in, not less and less. So it's almost getting more and more, I don't want to say complex, but more and more variety is what I'm trying to say.
But in a sense, that is complexity and variety. But that's a great thing. Like, that means those small ships we've got, there's a lot more variation that we can actually do than just changing the weapons. So it adds a little bit more life and breadth to all those different ships. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Socially confused. Did we see the bomb racks in the leaks? I assume for the Gladiator.
Wait, what? Bomb racks in the leaks for the Gladiator?
Well, I assume for the Gladiator.
We have to go look at that. No, I did
not. Find those bomb racks.
Does someone
want to? I haven't seen those.
Someone want to send me a Discord link to that, because you can copy the link, and if I have that channel, I can just click it and it'll take me straight to that item.
Socially confused. If you're still there, that would be you.
Yeah.
Who would be ideal for that? And I'll leave that unclicked.
Yep.
And I'll move on to the next question while we wait.
Yeah, perfect.
Crusader Maximilian says, not so much a question, but just because it's an Argo mech doesn't mean that Argo signed off on the military modification, surely. Yes, and we do believe it's now a Wicklow modification, and that Wicklow aftermarket modification, and that makes me go, oh.
Yeah. I'm also getting dragged onto Captain's Table 5:30 tomorrow morning, by the way, Algared. So I'll be with... Yeah, suck it up a bit, Buttercup.
Yep.
But yeah, I've got to get up at 5:30 to do that tomorrow. But I'll be on Captain's Table. I don't know who the other guest is going to be. I've talked to Trispone and I've talked to Grim about them coming on. I don't think Grim can make it, but it might be Trispone if we can get a message through to Paul. Otherwise, it'll just be me and some random. And when I say random, I mean I don't know who I'm talking.
What time? 5:30? 6:30? How long did you go for?
Like 3 or 4 hours.
5:30, 6:30, 5:30. Yeah, I could do it. I could actually make that and do it.
Oh well, well, Trisp. I think Trispone's asked, but I guess you could be back up if he doesn't find anyone.
If you can't find anyone, you can, as long as you let me know tonight, I could get there.
All right. Well, have a chat time after this.
Yep.
What wants to do? Right. Next question, bro.
Yes. Hook 2005. Should law not be possible to change before 1.0?
I would say it's not possible to change it after.
Yeah.
You want to do a massive retcon and go back and change all the shit, like, you know, there being 2 liberators as an example.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'd be going back and doing. I'd be doing a massive retcon just before release.
I think the answer is yes and no.
Really? Okay.
No, the broad brushstroke framework cannot change. That's the base which everything hangs on. All the little minute.
That's yes.
The minute stuff.
Yep. The name doesn't matter so much, does it? A name is just a name.
Yeah.
You know?
But after they launch, no, you don't want to change the law at that point. Then the fine stuff has to be set in stone as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's and I've always maintained, you know, the law, that framework law is the really important stuff. You can't change that. But the inside stuff, the gameplay stuff, you hate, but sometimes you have to do it, and there is wiggle room. And you know, they've always said that, and the law guys have always said we build the law with, you know, this much brush space, so that we can give the guys who are building the game that play area. So, hope that answered that question. Citizen Ninja, why did they make the chest armor part of the Atlas kit look like a trash bin? Oh, we answered that one. Yes, it does, because it looks like Ned Kelly.
Just real quick, for Expat, I'll send you a Discord link to the Discord I'm referring to. I'll get you covered.
Shampasta, do you think CIG will sell the Atlas iKitty? Only if Wicklow builds it.
Oh yeah, no. What was it? Ikitty or whatever.
iKitty.
I was gonna call it the Atlas weapon because I just can't. Silly name. No, I think it's gonna be Wicklow only. Thank God.
Yep, I think that'll be a Wicklow or his associates.
Yeah.
Other Banu merchants, and I could see not only Wicklow, I could see another Banu merchant opening elsewhere, exactly the same layout in terms of design and everything else. But he's a competitor to Wicklow. 100% see that. Agent just saying we answer every question. Yes, thank you, Agent 123 1213, pointing that out. To those who keep asking, do we answer questions?
Yeah, I did see the thing that you sent, socially confused, but I don't see the one that you're referring to that refers to the Gladiator.
No, he said but he's got the bomb racks, and he says, I assume for the Gladiator, so he's asking our opinion. What do we think?
So he's talking about this. So it says new bearer bomb racks, size 1 dual octo single, size 2 dual octo, size 3 dual octo. So they're bomb racks instead of missile racks. Now the only thing is they're written by Hader. So has he written bomb and missile?
Yep. Oh, if they're size 2 missile bomb racks, could they be for a Gladiator? Yeah, they could.
In the very next post, he's written missile. So yeah, maybe they are bomb racks.
But
Yeah.
I also know from what Ben was telling me, because, the Gladiator having the variations that it has in lore is one of the things I really would like to see. And he said, the problem is, if we put bomb racks in, or bombs in, it's such a waste of space in that torpedo bay.
That was John, but yes.
It would be almost better to do a variant.
Yeah. But I always wondered why he said that. I always was just like, well, why don't you just add 2 racks?
Yeah, well,
I know it's food time. You just gotta wait.
And I don't see why you couldn't add an extra shield module or an extra, or add other stuff into that space. So
don't look at me like that. I know you.
I could see a module bay having those extra bits. I could see doing a different variant, but I'd prefer to see that ship as modular, because that's what it was for, in lore. So yeah. Going down. So we've answered that question now. So boom. Going down. Question: what do you think? Execute of those size 9 torpedoes on the Guardian MX. Yes, you're being a troll.
Yes. Who was that? Was that Dickhead? Was that Dickhead?
No, that was Jack. That was Jack Raven.
I was Dickhead number 2. Right. Okay. Yep. Next.
So look, we said at the time it looked like it fits. But, we always said we could be wrong. There was enough rope to hang ourselves.
Always connecting dots, and you're not always right when you're connecting dots.
No.
Fine.
The fact that size 9 torpedoes could have been attached to the MX wings.
What's not to say there's not another variant of the MX?
Yeah.
There was a variant of the Guardian. Just saying, like that's something that they may or may not do in the future. And I would probably lean towards the not do, but it was just a cool idea.
Yeah, right. And
feel free to shoot it down.
And based on what they were saying about it bringing heavy ordnance, I don't think size 2 missiles are necessarily heavy ordnance.
I don't think they're heavy ordnance either.
So
I don't think that moniker fits it at all. It's anything, it's lower down audience than the Guardian, because you're going from 2 size 5s to 4 size 4s.
Now, if I go that against, say, a Constellation, I could say, okay, yeah, it's heavy against the Constellation because it's got the same base guns that a Connie has and basically half the missiles. But yeah, I'm not sure it matches. So I'd still hope there's maybe something that has 2 or 4 size 9 torpedoes or 2 size 10s. But yeah, I'm possibly dreaming. Gabe,
I'm actually trying to think of any other ship it could be other than the Gladiator. I'm just trying to think of what are some other ships you could put bomb racks on? Just real quickly, like just entertain my thought process. I'm trying to think. It's like the only other one I can think of would be a Retaliator, but that's already got the torps, so doesn't have to be a custom kind of rack to fit.
Well, if you're doing a torpedo ship and you're putting the Retaliator bomber was one for ground bombings as well, but you could use your torps for that. But I could see Gladiator having that arrangement. If it's racks, if they're external, it could be on a Misery, Cutlass Black. Just replace your missile racks with bomb racks.
Okay. Okay. So any of the fighters could do it then.
Any of the fighters could take a bomb rack in that card.
But then you've got ones like
if it's just replacing MDS spot, then
there are exceptions. Like the one that comes to mind is the Scorpius, where it's got those integrated missile ones.
Yep. Yeah, the ones that have got the missile racks built in, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But any of us got racks under the wings, like the wing-mounted racks, the MDS ones.
Yeah. So Saulian couldn't do it, for example.
Yep. But
yeah, there's quite a lot that could. So
the M50, the Arrow, the Aurora. The Aurora couldn't because
does the Fury MX have missile racks? I was say put them on that and then they drop them, they land on their own wings.
No, because they're more internal.
Yeah, I know, but I was just picturing the visual of people trying to put these bombs on racks and they drop them onto themselves and blow themselves up. But yeah,
the MISC, the MISC Starfit, not Staff Lancers, just the Starfarers. Any ship that's got those mobile, those MDS racks could do it. If they're rack, that's just a thought. Gabe.
Yep.
Just joined the live stream. Thank you. I don't know if this was discussed or but my question is, with all the information we have at this time, are we imminent for an Idris P launch? We've discussed it. It could be. It does seem, the evidence seems heavy, but CIG always give us enough rope to hang ourselves.
Or rug pull, yeah.
North End Trooper says, will the Guardian MX be classed as a medium fighter or stay as a heavy fighter?
Heavy, because it's got the internals.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it'll be better. I don't know, Algared, what's your initial thoughts on what you've seen today?
Look,
I think it'll be a bit better
thought,
received than the normal Guardian. I'd rather 4 size 4s than 2 size 5s.
I think the MX is much better than 2 size 5s, and plus you've got the missiles, so I think it's definitely a heavy fighter. And it's got the internals, which goes with being a heavy fighter. But do I like it being so close in armament to a Connie? No, because that's a ship that's 5 people. A one-man ship as a 5-man ship should not be on par. But that's just my opinion. Doc Ox, does the Asgard become the loner for the Paladin now? Probably. When it comes out, we'll check the updated loner matrix and tell you.
No, I think it would stay the Redeemer. Because the Paladin's a gunship, and the
Asgard is a dropship,
as is the Valkyrie. So why wasn't, because you could just say why wasn't the Valkyrie the loner for the Paladin? Well, it's the Redeemer.
Yeah,
because that's
because
the
the Redeemer is actually a dropship, not a gunship, not a dropship.
Yeah,
and I think that's it. Yeah, so I'd agree with that. I think calling the Asgard a gunship would be wrong, but yeah. Nastrani says, with the Thunderballs being displayed at the hall and bomb racks being mined, which ships are going to become bombers in the future? I think we just answered that.
That we're kind of going through. We beat you to the punch, but yeah.
Yeah. Jack Archer, because Aegis logo is on the left of attack on the wall from inside of Star Citizen video this week, do you think it makes the Idris more likely to be the final ship?
No.
No, because we've got Aegis ships on either side where those logos are.
Anvil ships either side.
Yeah, Anvil, sorry.
That's okay.
Look, I would. Could they do it? Yeah, sure. But as we've said numerous times now, enough rope to hang yourself.
Yeah.
Sword, thank you. That was that super chat for the from Glass Sword. Mark Jones, are you concerned with power creep as a tool for monetization? Loads of games use this, and it seems to be more common in Star Citizen.
I think the biggest issue I've had to the monetization is things like what's happening with the Valkyrie and the Asgard, where they come along after you've paid your money and then make it really hard for you to move off the ship that you had.
Yeah.
That's my biggest concern. It's not so bad when they come back and say, what's a good example? So the Golem is not a bad example, where they come back and do one underneath, but when they come back and do one just above, like the Valkyrie to the Asgard, that is so clearly, evidently, they need to offer CCU to that. You need to compensate for that, and I hope CIG are aware enough that they do that. And we've mentioned ways they can do that today and fix those things. So like the rare skins and stuff like that. I think that's all doable. Algared, I think you agree with me on that. It is now. I look at the way the CCUs could be done. I think it's totally. They could even put an offer out to the people that just own the Liberated Valkyrie and go, "Here's this. Would you like this upgrade?" And and you'll keep your copper skin.
Look, I can remember, you know full well the story of the Cutlass Black and the Buccaneer.
You mean? Oh yes, the Buccaneer. Sorry, I thought you were going to say
the Buccaneer was created because the Cutlass had become a wallowing cow in space, and it was no longer a fast fighter that could do cargo.
Yep.
And so CIG said yes, but this is what it was supposed to be.
And that's created other problems though, because I think you would agree with me, the Buccaneer is not worth $110.
No,
it's probably
and
worth.
that's had a flow-on effect to other fighters and stuff.
Would you agree that it's more like 75, like the Arrow? I think you'd kind of agree with me on that. It's a bit further back down. It's not.
Oh look,
yeah.
for a while I was doing Arena Commander, and I've got to admit, when I was flying the fighters, I actually preferred taking the Buccaneer than the other fighters because it felt fast. It had punch. It felt fast.
Yeah.
It was weak in other areas, but that was the one I actually preferred to take over the fighters. But yeah. But it was the same type of issue. So, Clever Ghost. So you're sure it's not going to be the Perseus? Wasn't that supposed to be Alzone too?
No, it's definitely not the Perseus. We've been saying for months it's not the Perseus, and then it was kind of confirmed in a monthly report that there's no way it could be out. But one of the biggest bits of information, or reiterate this for your benefit, was during CitizenCon we were essentially told that the ship pipeline, no matter the size of the ship, always took 18 months. So you can then now use that to extrapolate when ships are coming out. So, for example, the Ironclad, we knew that John Crew knew about it before CitizenCon. You extrapolate out 18 months from that point, and you literally get to where we are here at Invictus. So it makes it possible that the Ironclad is coming at Invictus, as an example.
Yeah.
Not saying it is coming, but that's an example.
Yeah. And where we go with that thinking. So yeah. Roz has a question. Why do you think Urkel updated their site with the Idris if it wasn't going to be officially released to the PU soon? I'm not quite sure if it's CCU's relationship. Urkel does exactly what we do.
What did they do? They updated Urkel for what?
Urkel updated their site to include the Idris with information. So why would they do it if it's not available?
They have, because they did update all the stats, but the stats for the Idris have been there for ages. They've just been updating them. Look, as we keep saying, there is a lot of evidence that points towards the Idris coming. And if I had to pick between the Idris and the Ironclad, I'd say the Idris, but there's evidence that it could be both. Yep. So we'll have to wait and see. And again, I would not be surprised if we get both. I really wouldn't. But again, as we've said, fourth time today, go in not knowing and just be like this and be happy if you get it. And that goes for any ship.
Go in expecting nothing, and then whatever comes, you're excited. Like, that's the easiest way to approach anything. I've taken that view with ships like Texas. Oh, you happy about it? If it comes, it comes, and I'm excited for any ship that comes. I like going around the new ships. I like looking at them. I like exploring them. But if it doesn't come, I'm not crushed, because ultimately it means it's down the track and it's going to have a new gold standard when it comes out, and it's going to look even better. So yeah. Dub Coyote says, do you think Wicklow is the archetype for blueprints and trader professions?
I'll let you answer that one.
Possible. Anything's possible. He says, I don't think so.
Yeah. What was the question again? Sorry, I was replying to someone.
Do you think Wicklow is the archetype for blueprints and trader professions?
I think he's set up so they can basically test all the missions and
do whatever they want.
Yeah, but again, like the Wicklow armors and stuff, they don't go onto your account. So they're testing giving you items that they're not going to delete, because they talked about not deleting things now. So you imagine all that work that people put in for the Wicklow Polaris, like that's an org level event to get that thing. And then they delete it.
It's gone.
No, that is going to be so much outrage, right? So they are fundamentally, essentially, testing item persistence is probably the easiest way to explain that.
Yeah,
you know,
I'd prefer they didn't test item persistence with such big ships, because it means less blowback if it doesn't work, or they have to backtrack. So,
to that effect, just a community reminder too: make sure you go log into live as soon as you can and strip your gear off, because any gear that you're wearing is deleted. So if you're wearing that really Wicklow armor like I was wearing, and the guns and all that type of stuff, if you've got them on you and you have no way to get them back, do the math. If you're wearing them when the patch comes out, they're just deleted from your account. And they're warning. There's all these posts on Reddit about it and stuff like that. So if you haven't heard about it, but that needs to be something that they fix pronto, because if you've put all that work in and you just lose gear, and I think that's how I lost my gun, because I had to go back and get a second Copian tooth gun because it just disappeared for no reason. I still don't understand where it went. Anyway, I digress.
Kion64 says, here's a question for you guys. Will you be upgrading anything into a TAC or Asgard?
Personally,
I usually
no.
try and avoid it.
Personally,
I usually
no.
try and avoid upgrades. That's just me.
I do have a TAC upgrade sitting there in my hangar.
From what ship?
I think I got it from a mole.
So
it's like $15 or something like that.
I don't.
But if I don't like the TAC, I will just melt it and turn it back into credit and get something else. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think it's something I'm going to get. Like, again, generally I buy CCUs to everything. I've got way too many CCUs. It's way too many. I think the last check I had like 140 of them. And what I ended up doing is I either just turn them back into credit, or I give them to someone or something like that. Like I know you've got a couple too, Algared. We've got those, what was they? Hammerhead to Polaris ones.
Yep.
$25 where we
Polaris CCUs.
We got them for $25 and now they've gone up by a couple of $100, because that's $200 for that cost us 25. See, now me and Algared will probably never use them, but we brought them. Either you could sell them or give them to people or something like that. So, you know, you want one?
I bought them.
Reach out to me and Algared and we'll do out a deal or something, or maybe we'll give some away.
I bought them looking at the Hammerhead and the Polaris and going, the Hammerhead's not worth having compared to the Polaris. But these days I go, do I really need another Polaris? And do I have too many Polaris? And should I be offloading them? But you know, that's a story for another day. And it's not that I don't like the ships. It's just that there's just so much you can put in before you have to start recycling your cash to get everything you want. Or Anyway, and Kaiden goes on and he says that I will be upgrading from a Redeemer into a TAC or maybe a Paladin.
Yeah.
So, Dub Crady comes back with another question. He says, do you think we're at the same question? Our vendor says, do you think the larger ship will be released for Invictus? Or a larger ship will be released for Invictus? We think the evidence seems to be...
Yeah, it's leaning towards one or the other. I'd say that's the case, but...
Or both. So one, the other, or both. Take your pick. Piss Poor Pete says, did you see the alternate ballistic? Yes, we did. You asked that question before, Pete. You know we get to the questions. You don't have to keep putting the question in. We go down the list.
Doesn't learn. The dumb doesn't learn.
I know.
You just have to keep slapping.
But you worry that I have a bad view of you. It's when you do things like that that my impression of you drops.
Yeah, you're a bad student.
You know, I'd have thought you'd have learnt by now. You're one of the old guard. Come on, get with the program. Jack Raven. The question is, will the price go up for the Idris P? I don't think so. It's been sold multiple times. Ooh, going flyable.
Oh, yeah, going flyable, they're definitely an increase in price. 100%.
Which will, and since the Idris M is not going to be sold again,
it would jump by it would jump by 10 to 20%. That's what most of them do when they what do you call it, come out.
Yeah, so I was going to say no because it's been sold multiple times, but if it comes flyable, yes, I expect a price increase. If we don't get one, happy days. But I would expect to see one. Vendor comes back with a question. Sorry, that was Jack Raven's question. Vendor comes back and says, do you think when the Idris is released, it will be a whole limited ship still?
Sorry, I'm doing multiple jobs in the background. What was the question
again? I imagine it will still remain whole limited. There'll be limited hulls when it goes on sale. That would be my view.
Yes, it'll be just like every other one where they come out and they basically do waves. It'll be exactly the same. There's no reason for it to change.
In fact, if they keep doing that and it's in game, it becomes a bigger FOMO. So people will push for it more and the price increase will mean more money. So yeah, I could see it staying as it is.
I've been sent a picture that literally shows the ballistas in the back of the Asgard, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do fit. You
Yep.
can kind of remove that from the speculation part of it.
Yep. Citizen Dance says, any chance for the Pisces-sized stealth ship focused on insertion black ops, carry maybe 2 people or a 2 SCU box, 315 competition-ish. 315 has a lot more cargo than 2 SCU, I thought.
It's 12. You talking about 315p?
Yep.
Yeah, it's 12.
Any chance of a Pisces-sized stealth ship focused on insertion black ops? Possible, but at the moment, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting multiple messages.
Yep.
What was it? Was that the last one you ticked off? Any chance of a Pisces-sized stealth ship? I'd already argue that we have that in the Razor, the Black Razor.
Yep. True.
To be honest with you, that should be a good one for the bomb racks. Now I think about it, the missiles on the Razor come in and stealth
so
bomb.
You take the missile racks off,
Yep.
put bomb racks on.
Yep, stealth bomb on Razor. Yep, works a lot.
Hook 2005 says, do like the changes to the pledge store. I wish only new stuff filtered as. I wish only new stuff filtered it. I wish there was a only new stuff filter. Yes, I would like that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, it's been a pain in the ass for the whole time, especially with paints. It's really annoying. You can't set it to new. You can't. They just need more options. They're getting there slowly, and I mean, when I say slowly, I mean glacially slowly, but they are getting there. By the same token, like you just saw today, we went back to look at the Liberator, and half the damn screenshots had been removed.
Yep.
So it's just they're simplifying the website, getting ready for that release type thing.
Yep.
Think about all the shit that we've had to go through. They're trying to remove that for the normies. Trying to remove the bugs. They're trying to remove the shitty website, the complexities. They're trying to streamline it all, make it all simpler. And you think about all the stuff you've had to teach your friends that you brought into the game, stuff like that. Like, it might not benefit us directly. In some ways, it might feel antiquated, but it will be a benefit overall to the community.
Yeah. No, 100%. Talking to turbulent guys at CitizenCon, they were really stoked that they joined Star Citizen or CIG because it meant they could actually now change the pages or change the website. In the past, they used to build particular pages for the ships.
Well, that's about 18 months ago when you say
that. And so they're actually starting. They've got that, but they're also doing some of the planet stuff as well. So you've got them split between 2 roles. So as they slowly go through and rework the web page, they're hopefully making it better and nicer and getting rid of some of the problems that were in the page, which means the web pages won't break as often as they did. Shimpasta, how does this leak stuff get done? Is his question.
So as I said, he basically makes his own kind of essentially private build, goes in and then spawns the vehicles. Like he does an offline build. And that's how he's able to go in and record the stuff. And he's been doing it for a while. Like if you think back to when he did the when we were away at CitizenCon, he did the FM. Was it the CSV or whatever it's called and stuff like that? That's how he's done all those. So yeah.
But basically they data mine the stuff to find out what's there, and he does his own build and then puts them up and does stuff. So beyond my skill level, that is for certain. Crusader Maximilian says, does gunship strictly mean ship versus ship? Surely the TAC could act as a ground support gunship, side-mounted turrets to fire at ground turrets. Yes, you could. But I think it's probably better, rather than calling it a gunship, I think it's a better definition of it being a dropship. But naming 6 of one, half a dozen other. At the end of the day. JB, how likely is an Anvil capital ship of a rumoured Drake Corvette to be concept for this Invictus? The rumoured Drake Corvette is the Ironclad. That was confirmed to us by John.
Yeah, it was.
So when we asked him about, the Drake Corvette and the rumoured Smirk, and we talked about, he said, that was because at that time, the Drake Corvette was, the Drake Ironclad was already being done. And so that's why he was, we're getting it because the Ironclad's there. Anvil Capital, would be love to see it, but I don't think we'll see it anytime soon. Jimmy, how good will Valhalla be at turning into one of the gun pilots? I think if it's fat with a tonk, it'll be hard to target ships and whatnot. Yep. Can't disagree with that. Glass Sword, V12 forgotten again. G12 forgotten again.
It's just not needed. It's not a. What do you get by adding it? Right? You've essentially got the Cyclone on one side, and I'd also add in the Graycat now, and on the other side you got the Ursa. It's just the only ship advantage you get is you get a faster Ursa. Is essentially what it is. With less facilities. It's just not required. And I think the other thing that I hear you saying it in my head is the longer it takes to come out, the better off it'll be. So I'd be waiting. I've got no problem. What do you get? A racer out of it? We've already got other racing vehicles that are ground vehicles, the Cyclone, STV, a whole bunch of ones in there.
We get another enclosed cab.
Who cares? You got the Ursa that can do that.
Size, but less crew, less cargo.
Yeah. And then I think there's
luxury.
The missiles that shoot into the air. Well, you've already got that on the Cyclone variant as well. So there's nothing there that adds to it.
And in its current configuration or current stats, it's wider than an Ursa, so it doesn't fit in a lot of the ships as well.
Yeah.
Someone in chat, who was it? Socially Confused says G12 with 600 rework. Makes perfect sense for me. I think that's when we'll probably see it because that's the ship it comes with.
Yeah.
Robert Vons. It's more of a statement. The MTC has a jump seat in it like the Medipen. For a second person. It is essentially a two-person rover with an armory for them. I didn't see the jump seat.
There was. I saw it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I missed it. Which better? Okay. So 2 jump seats, 2 suit clockers. Okay, good. Sorry. 2 crew, jump seat and pilot.
That's it. You got it.
And 2 suits. That's what I was meaning then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You got it.
So, dang, the questions we are on were asked 15 minutes ago. Yes.
So just like Chris said, so I think people are just annoyed that the Graycat was added when the G12 has been sitting around there waiting for the completed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's why it was added, because then you can make more money.
Yep.
And someone's probably working on the G12 every time they've got downtime. So say they're working on ship X and they get through, they might have 2 weeks to put towards it, and then they go on. So that 18-month window is completely expanded out, and they just come back to it every time there's downtime. And a lot of people in the industry, that is how a lot of stuff's done. And the easiest way to do that is with small vehicles, right? So Chris Smith, when he worked on it was the Nox. That was one that was done that way. So it doesn't have an 18-month pipeline. It's longer because it's so small. When he's between things, he can just work on that for a little bit, go back, do this, come back, work on this. So it just allows them, while they're waiting for the programmers to do things, to have a little self-contained project.
Yeah, it should do that caveat. The 18-month window is the minimum time. That's how long it takes. If we're working solidly on a ship, it's got to go for all the different departments.
Yeah, but it is 18 months.
Yeah,
but they're stopping and starting.
Time.
No, they're just stopping and starting. It's still 18 months. Yeah.
Yeah. 18 months of development time, but might be spread over a long period.
That's the way to word it. 18 months of development time. That's a perfect way to do it. Do it.
But yeah. And the other thing is, if you think about vehicles and ships, the worst ones come first, then we get the really big one, and the sweet spot's in the middle. So G12's taking so long, and it's the one they're not doing. Is it because it's going to be the sweet spot? Another question for you to consider. Gabe, do you feel that the new missile PDCs shown with the Idris K kit, 16 S1 missiles each, will be reloadable during combat? And if not, would this be problematic? Possible. I think the idea, It's one of the things I didn't like about the change to the missile-loaded PDCs on the 890 rather than the laser-based ones, because the laser-based ones don't run out of ammo, missiles do. But I imagine missiles are going to be better at connecting rather than the lasers, so yin and yang.
Yes.
So, yeah. Will we see other kits, other laser types later on? Possibly. My question would be, are the PDCs the M2Cs? Are the ones that we saw the varying M2C missile pods rather than, because that's what's in the K kit. So, Sean O'Neill, what do you think of a Rattler version of a bomb taken as 5, say?
Like a cluster bomb, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fine.
Absolutely.
I could see that at some point. Expat Brat, we feel your pain. Why has my gold pass Valve been labelled an Asgard and sold with Invictus?
Because they hate you.
Invictus.
They hate you. They just hate you so much.
Because they can get more money.
Yeah, it's money. Well, I also think it's probably, like, we've seen a lot of ships like that over the years that have, well, what's another example? The Hoplite. The Valkyrie did that to the Hoplite. You know,
Yep.
The Rock DS is another one. Just ships that kind of became
I think
superfluous.
Some ships,
but they have to release them because they sold them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wrong way to go about it. I would have just offered those people upgrades. And it even said in the thing, what did it say? Ship subject to change because it's a game in development. Just change them.
Just
get rid of them. Get rid of the Hoplite. Give everyone an upgrade to a Valkyrie. If you own a Hoplite,
you don't get rid of a Hoplite. You just change the Hoplite into the Valkyrie when you're developing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you just, but retroactively, they just delete the Hoplite, and everyone that has the Hoplite, they get a Valkyrie. And if they don't like it, they just melt it. Done. Yeah. And so you get a Valkyrie that, what's it? A Valkyrie's $225. So you get a $150 upgrade for free.
For free, but your ship's still valued at the price of
$275.
Yeah, look,
most people would take that as a happy pill and swallow it and go, yummy, I got a bigger ship. And
I got a bigger ship because I can upgrade from that ship to something bigger down the track. Yeah.
Same thing with the Rock DS. Just give them a bunch of skins for the Rock or something like that, or increase the price of the Rock DS to be the same, of the Rock to be the same price as the Rock DS, and then delete the Rock DS.
Yeah.
And then give them a couple of things in compensation. And again, they get the upgrade for free.
Yeah. Like, I could see lots of things you could do to solve those problems.
Yeah.
I get why CIG doesn't, because they've sold the vehicle.
Well, it doesn't. But it doesn't. It doesn't hurt them to do that. It's a virtual product. You can duplicate it. It's free. Use it.
And I get why they did the Hoplite initially, because they needed it for Squadron. At least I thought they needed it for Squadron because the Redeemer wasn't fitting the role. But then as time went on, it got supplanted. So
Algared, I think we're gonna. How many questions have we got left?
1, 2, 3, 4, about 6. We've powered through them.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's finish them off because my cats are getting really antsy.
Asgard is a Valkyrie variant, right? When will we get a standalone Asgard, Anvil Asgard, like we did with the Valkyrie Liberator and the Liberator? That's from Nova A42.
Say that again. Just the last part.
The Asgard is a Valkyrie variant, right?
Yes.
When will we get a standalone Anvil Asgard, like we did with the Valkyrie Liberator and the Liberator?
I missed it again. I'm going to have to read it myself. I don't understand what he's trying to say there. When will we get a standalone Anvil Asgard like we did with the Valkyrie Liberator and the Liberator? Oh, so he's implying that there's another ship coming that's called the Asgard.
Yeah,
no, that doesn't work because it was never called that. That is the Asgard. Yeah. I see what he's trying to say. No, the Asgard is not a variant, by the way. I think it'll be a standalone ship. I don't think it'll be a variant. I think from a developer's perspective, they're variants, much like the Paladin, right?
Yeah.
But the Paladin's got so much cut off it, and it's a gunship, not a drop ship.
Yeah.
He's getting really antsy.
Dudley, you ask questions exactly the way you did. All you need to do is make sure your question has the word question in it anyway, and it will come up. Daft Digit, just put question.
Yep, he's done his job. He's done his job.
Question.
Algared has a real problem. If he sees words, he's got to read them. So you can't do that, or he'll read them.
I tried.
Algared, are you an idiot? Just write that as a question. Algared, are you an idiot? And he will read it.
No, I'll start to read it and go no.
Testing confirmed. Like anyway, all right, here we go. All right, next question. Go, Dudley.
What do you think about a C1 variant being a sneak peek that looks like a track system?
Think about a C1 variant being the sneak peek that looks like a track system. Oh, the one with the track system. No, that's the Graycat. That's literally Dudley. That's the If I go back, I can probably find the video real quick. Just give me a minute. That was a couple of hours ago now, wasn't it? That was that one. That one. I'm gonna have to go back and look for it. Just give me a second. You want to do the next question real quick?
The next question is from this Ixid. What does the first released Anvil cap ship look like?
Looks like
I think we've got one.
It looks like
an Anvil
capital ship. Yeah, I'd say.
But we can't tell you because we haven't seen one yet. So
yeah, they don't exist yet. Here we go. God, someone's at the back door. Yeah, I'm not going to bother. I don't even know who that guy is. Some construction guy for my brother, no doubt. Check in the bus, my friend. Yep, I just told him to go. Right. Bear with me. Is this the right one? Yeah, all right. So this is the Graycat here, man. You can see the turret on top when the video plays, and it's got a track, and you can actually see that there's a deploy functionality in the video. So it's definitely this that was in the sneak peek. I believe this is the one that you were talking about. But we even correctly speculated at the time that it was this vehicle, as did Grim and many other people. So yeah, I'll just cut this forward real quickly and see if I can. So you can see there it is up on the turret. But if you come back here, I don't know, where was it? Does he de-deploy it? I know there's a part where he do you remember, Aga, where it was or not?
I can't remember it de-deployed, but
you see the track.
When you look at the picture in the hall, you can see it's deep.
Yeah, it's down. But yeah, if you go look for yourself, you'll be able to see that there are screenshots of it. Oh wait, if I go back to that very first screenshot, it was hours ago now. So that yeah, you can see the turret's down in the screenshot. If I zoom in, enhance, there you go. So you can see it's down and there's the track behind it. And now if I go back to the video, which I've lost again. Oh my God, whatever there is. Oh my God, where the hell is this? All right. The hell is the turret? Oh, I've lost it again.
Oh, we saw it in video.
Oh, now it's gone back to a completely different video. All right, there you go. You can see it. You can see it there at the very start of the video. So that'll cover it for you. Huh?
Yeah.
Right. Hope that answers your question, Dudley. No, it's not cool. The video is on Danny Whatever's Discord, which is Hayder's new Discord since he left SC Leagues.
Typhon Nick says, any chance of seeing the Kruger light fighter concept at Invictus? I would like to see it. I would love to see it.
Could be the concept.
CIG.
Could be the concept.
It could be the concept. And yes, CIG, that would probably make me open my wallet. But any hope. Anything, it comes.
Yeah, he usually only opens his wallet for Uwu girls these days. That's an Evercrack. So it'd be a rarity to get him to open for a ship these days. But anyway.
Sandgroper, I hope I answered your question.
Right.
I hope you saw my answered question. Mifun7 says, I'm so sorry to be off topic, but what is the name of Execute's cat? Jax.
Yeah, Jax. That's Jax, and then there's a girl cat. They're both gingers. Jax, the boy, he's got white on him, and the girl is Sight, and she'll be out She'll be meowing like crazy when I walk out of this room. She is a very big meow when it comes to food. So yeah, Sight and Jax.
And that was our last question.
Excellent. Right. So because of the way weird things have gone down today, we're going to be redirecting on YouTube to Starjump Grim. Oh no, sorry, to Astropub, because I couldn't get Grim to set the redirect. I mean, that's who I was talking to all this time. But then we're going to raid Grim and Starjump on Twitch. So that's what we're going to do.
Get ready to go to Starjump.
Yep. Here we go.
And yeah, ask any of your ship questions to him.
Yeah, he'll have
Why don't
all
we have
the
variants for the Gladiator yet.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a question for him.
Yeah. Or just he'll be able to answer a lot of these questions too. Make sure you ask him. They're doing stuff for St. Jude's, right? And they've essentially been torturing themselves, and ask them why he is not prepared to shave his armpits, yet he's happy to chuck Ender under the bus. So he keeps trying to chuck Ender under the bus to do all these tasks when he's the one that needs to be doing them. So what task is he actually going to do for St. Jude? Essentially, is what I would like you to ask. So yeah. All right. With that, then, as we said, we do have that Valkyrie video there as well. We'll probably do a video that sums up a lot of the stuff we talked about today, and we'll probably do that as a supplemental as well. So you probably got 2 videos coming this weekend. So yeah. All right. With that, then, YouTube say goodbye to Twitch. Twitch say goodbye to YouTube.
Bye, Twitch.
And off they go. And we're going to go over, and as we do, have a little listen as we come in.
Because you're going to go through the trouble of getting this thing onto the planetary surface, right? It only makes sense to me to be a mobile armory for quite a big group, 5 to 10, maybe 15 people, right? Oops, do we just have Rooster Rage donating another $10? Thank you very much, Rooster. Salute to you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rooster.
But it only makes sense to me that you would want a mobile armory that is very much an armory. It can outfit a small platoon or group or fire team or whatever. This is really made to outfit 2 people.
Did that not raid?
It's got 2 suit lockers and whatnot in it. So I don't know. I feel like
but I don't think it went into.
We're going to do a mobile armory.
It did.
We'd be much better suited for something of like.
So you can see Grim talking,
right? Where 4 or 5 people in a fire team can go on board.
Yep. And my Twitch has Grim talking. We did raid him.
Okay, he just hasn't noticed.
Go ahead.
That's the problem. You're thinking about this as a fire team. You're thinking the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what this is for, and it pisses me off so very much.
All right. I love listening to talk. All right, we better let him go though. All right. With that, then, thank you to the people on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went the extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. Oh shit, did I raid the wrong place? Shit, I did wrong.
No, on Twitch you raided Grim.
No, I typed in Starjump and so we raided the wrong place. We raided a place.
Oh, you raided Grim. No, I was seeing Grim talk.
Really?
Yeah.
_ Grim. No. Yeah, I raided I raided the wrong place. No, I did. I raided Starjump and I meant to raid Starjump _ Grim. So yeah, I raided the wrong place. That's why I was sitting here going, haven't they noticed the raid? Anyway, totally superfluous. All right, with that then, he's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens. I need to go get a bloody